you getting yourself ready for our show?
How's everybody doing? It's Jigs and Bigs on another Tuesday morning for you. I am Bobby Roast Beef. I got Sean the Fisherman with us this week. We got a really great episode this week, guys. First and foremost in the beef seat this week, we've got Edie Wilkinson. Edie is Bass Queen 83. And if you don't know who she is, you should go and follow her right now. She's amazing. We have a great conversation. She shares some amazing stories with us. She's got a great story to tell too. Not going to want to miss that. That's coming up in our third segment. We have a week in review. Some fish related situations did occur. We'll cover all that. We have a major announcement to make here on this week's show that involves events and some cool stuff that's coming down the pipe through the winter. Like, this winter is going to be very exciting. You're not going to want to miss that. We have in Adjust the Tip this week, we're going to talk about, I would say it's in our top 3 favorite finesse techniques between Sean and myself. It definitely factors in there. I love it. I know he loves it. We're going to talk about that, especially when cold water applications. And then we have an FTG this week that is very, very interesting. You remember our past guest, George Costa? Well, George had a real interesting situation in a body of water that was very, very frustrating and left him kind of scratching his head. So we'll get to that in just a bit, guys. You go ahead, get yourselves something, a tasty beverage to enjoy, and get ready because we got one hell of a show. You guys are not going to want to miss this. We'll see you in just a bit. Don't go too far. Well, how's everybody doing? It's Tuesday. Can you believe it? It's another week. It's the week of Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving? Get your turkeys and all your sweet potatoes and your green bean casseroles ready to go because folks got a short week. It's going to be a nice week too. It's going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to it. How you doing, Sean? How's things on your end?
I'm good, man. I'm prepping for that moment where we see the spread of food on our table, and the only thought that comes to my head is, we gonna die.
Pretty much. I am, Thanksgiving, like the last couple of years have been very small. Like the holidays just in general with my family. A lot of that having to do with like these bizarre ass times that we live in these days and, all that. But I like it. It's not bad. I'm not going to complain. I think it's a very good thing. I've got a lot on my plate this week for Thanksgiving. Literally, I will on Thursday, but figuratively, like as far as the trivia schedule goes and work and everything else, I've got a shorter week because, again, this week, well, last week I was missing one of my regular days. I did an event. I was in Boston at the same time that you were, but we were doing completely different things. I was working. We'll get into that later. But so I didn't have my regular trivia event, but I did do 4 trivia events this week. And then next week I'm getting into it, and I've only got 3 because Thursday I'm off. But I kind of want to bring this element back this week that I haven't done in years. It's called Shakesgiving.
Speak of this horrible thing that I'm sure makes your trivia contestants quake.
It does, but it teaches them the lesson of being thankful and giving to your friends. That's what it's all about. And I don't know where I came up with this idea. It's sort of like Drinko on steroids. What I basically do is I take Thanksgiving dishes and I pair them up in bizarre combinations. Things that you might not necessarily want in your mouth at the same exact time because it's weird. So I plan these things out. And then I blend them into a smoothie consistency. And I deliver them to fine individuals that win, bonus points, nearest wins questions. And if they consume the shake, they get additional points. And if they get another question right and they receive a second shake, they're not allowed to consume it. They have to give it. They have to give it to a fellow team. The idea is it's all about friendship. And we had this one amazing night, the first night I ever did it. And I never thought I was going to blend a green bean casserole with, a pie, but it happens. You know what I mean? It happens. And it was, in fact, the green bean casserole one. I remember the couple that won this thing. They opened it up and they ordered they ordered some fries, and they were just dipping fries in it. They're like, "This is wonderful." I'm like, really? You like my green bean casserole? That's awesome, because it's a very polarizing side dish. Very polarizing. You ever blend mac and cheese?
No, but I
don't.
Oh, you know what? Yes, you're going to laugh. Yes, I did have.
Really?
I didn't blend it. I food processed it. You know why? Broken jaw back in the 90s.
Oh, broken jaw. That's dedication, man.
I've blended shit you have no idea about.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, and back in the 90s, you were probably blending all kinds of shit. Fucking fast food. Yeah. Go down that road.
Yeah, whatever. I couldn't eat solid foods for like a week or 2 weeks, and whatever came my way went in the food processor. I didn't give a shit.
I went to Wendy's and I got a bunch of spicy chicken sandwiches and I blended them. I put them in a caulking gun.
Yeah. And I'm looking around for other stuff. Hey, Mom, where's the ashtray? Shit like that.
So I'm debating bringing that back. It is a lot of work. I'm okay with doing the work, but I'm only going to do it on Wednesday, and we'll talk about why Wednesday is important. It's only going to be Wednesday, but you're going to be there Wednesday, right? To check out this room that we have a big announcement about.
I am thinking about it because we know, Wednesday is one
amateur hour.
The unholy four.
Yeah, it is.
As we know, the unholy four being, of course, New Year's Eve, St. Patrick's Day, Cinco de Mayo, and of course, the night before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Wild Turkey Night.
Those are the days that if you haven't had a drink in a year, that's a time that you're getting blackout drunk and probably getting behind the wheel. So I try to stay off the roads.
Well, that's what's nice about, and it's funny because there's a lot of folks that do play trivia pretty routinely, and they all say the same thing. They're like, we're at an age now where, and it's funny because they all say this, but they're all different ages. Some folks are in their like late 20s. Some folks are like well into their like mid 50s, and they're just like, we're at the age now where we don't want to go out and do all this amateur type bullshit. So for us to go out on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving and, have trivia and be done by like 9:30, it's great. You know what I mean? It's awesome. People really like it. So I know we're going to have a great time. I asked Holly today if she would mind helping me out in the kitchen as far as like pairing up some food items for Shakesgiving, but we'll figure that out. Speaking of my wife, let me tell you where my wife is right now. And if you've today we're recording this on a Sunday night, so if you have seen the Jigs and Big storyline, you've probably already privy to all this. But my wife bought tickets a couple months ago for a concert here at a great little venue in our town of Holyoke, Gateway City Arts. Gateway City Arts. Have you ever seen a show there?
No, the one I was planning on going to, I think with my wife, she had actually said, we'll go see it. Actually canceled. It was, let me think, it was spring or summer, and I think it was during that initial Delta spike and the show canceled. So. And
yeah, you know what? And Gateway City have it was tough for them. It's tough for any place that's a concert venue. You know what I mean? Like when you've got a shutdown and there's literally nothing coming in. And they did have I forget what the menu is there, but there was actually a variety of different restaurants that have existed also within this space as well. It's a great setup. It's awesome. They have really, really, really good concerts. But my wife got tickets to go see Vanessa Carlton. And some of you guys might know Vanessa Carlton is that girl from the 1,000 Miles, the ding, 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 that song. Well, yeah, so my wife, she got like 4 tickets. A couple of her friends couldn't make it, and she offered up my oldest daughter one of the tickets because I think the show was like 16 plus or something, or 15 plus. And my daughter was like, yeah, let's go. So they're there now, but they like couldn't give these other 2 tickets away. Like, no, everybody's like, oh, no, not for me. Sunday night, no. It's just I got that, church in the morning or some shit. I don't know.
I'm old.
Yeah,
old
exactly.
Work, church. I've been drunk for 2 days.
I'm a trivia guy that So, and I said right away because they asked, what about you? You want to come with us? And I was like, I have a podcast to record. I have my own creative greatness to, put together for the people. For the people. Folks, it's for you. So, yeah, that's where my wife and oldest are. My youngest is here, and she couldn't care less. She's like, whatever. She's watching some anime and probably terrorizing the dogs. You can probably hear them actually running around the house.
Wait, on that note, and before we get into note, see what I did there? On that note, and before we get into fishing, I had my week was actually chocked with concerts.
It was
full.
Yeah.
So I had two shows. I had tickets, and I threw that up on Instagram. I think I grabbed a quick shot of some of the insane laser shenanigans that were going on. But I went and saw a couple of progressive metal bands, Mastodon from Georgia and Opeth from Sweden. Mm-hmm. And I went with a military buddy. He came down from Maine, crashed at my house for the night. We went out there to Boston, had a great time.
Sweet.
That was fun.
Where was that show?
That was, of course, at the Wang Theater.
Yeah,
where I have never seen a show, but now I've experienced the Wang.
Yeah,
I mean, it's good stuff.
Did the Wang measure up?
The Wang measured up.
Good.
Wang measured up.
Good.
Yeah. It was a little cold, a little more compact than the Wang should have been.
Chilly night on the Wang.
Chilly night on the Wang.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a good time with that. I mean, it's metal. If you're not into metal, I get it.
Oh yeah.
But we had a good time. And then Saturday, there was a little bit of confusion. There was a show another buddy had bought tickets to, a guy I used to work with at one of the airports, and he ended up buying tickets, I think in like 2020 for a Ukrainian. And this is gonna be awesome. I'm gonna try and get their subgenre right, but if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. A Ukrainian deathcore band from the Ukraine, obviously, and they're female fronted.
Oh, okay.
So their name is Ginger with 2 J's. So he's into them, and I said, "Well, you've come to concerts with me. Hell yeah, I'll go with you." And we went down there, and there was a band from California that opened. There were 2 bands from California that opened. One we did not catch, called All Hail the Yeti, which I'm kind of sad I missed out on.
Amazing
Great name.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Suicide Silence, yet another deathcore band, which deathcore, for the uninitiated, is a mix of death metal and hardcore.
Yeah.
So hardcore's got those breakdowns where you just hear double kicking drums, the guitar's playing straight with the drums.
A lot of China cymbal.
The smashing of the cymbals, right? So I'm into them going, yes, death metal part. Oh, I love death metal. This is great, death metal. And then I'm like, no breakdowns. No more hardcore breakdowns. No, stop with the breakdowns.
This is where you and I are different, because I love those.
Yeah. Well, I do in hardcore.
Yeah.
The little hardcore that I listen to, we had a Boston scene in the 90s. I listened to some of it. I was exposed to it.
Yeah.
And I know you were in it.
Yeah.
You were a part of it. And I took what I liked from that genre. And, and the mixture of it with some forms of metal. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. I agree.
The metalcore movement out of Massachusetts was all right.
Yeah.
We got Kill Switch and Shadows Fall and All That Remains and Acacia Strain, but like sometimes it didn't work out. But it was a fun show. I'm glad I went. We had a blast, and we're planning another show down the way. Here's where things got all screwed up though. So I had Saturday open. That's the night of that second show.
Uh-huh.
Originally, he had bought tickets for the Boston show on Sunday night. So I had that in my calendar from like last year. And what I did was I planned with Derek from Three Bells to meet him out on the Cape and do some Cape Cod fishing and then go to Max and slam some fried things when we were done. What I had forgotten to change in my calendar was my buddy said, "Hey, screw Boston. They're playing in New Haven. Let's go down there." So we went down to Connecticut instead. It's a quicker ride.
Yeah.
And that screwed up Saturday. So Derek had planned on testing out one of the new paddle boards at Three Bells. And I believe it's inflatable, but this thing weighed nothing. This was an amazing thing. And it has 4 like I don't know, like O-rings that you can strap a chair down to on this thing. There's a certain kind of chair, like almost like one of those little stadium seats, but it comes with the kayak or comes with the paddleboard.
Yeah.
So he went out on that. We got all prepped up. We went out. I just said, "Look, we don't have the time to go to Cape Cod. I don't have the time to go down there." I said, "Do you mind just coming up to my house and we'll use the pond behind my house and screw around back there, right?" And he said, "No problem." He hooked up a GoPro, so he was recording all day of him trying out this new
Nice.
Stand-up paddleboard that has the seat on it, and he had a blast doing that. And we were out on the water for about 2 hours before it got way too cold. Saturday was really cold compared to, Thursday, the night in Boston, that was actually really nice. It was like mid-50s.
Oh, it was beautiful. All night long.
And Saturday was cold. So we did about 2 hours on the water. I don't have a very big body of water behind my house, and it's down. We have a dam that we lower once a year so we can kind of clean up the leaves and debris and shit that's, just some barely submerged. So we looked everywhere for the fish. I actually ended up talking to a couple of my neighbors. I have one neighbor that's a firefighter, and I was talking to him and his wife. And meanwhile, across the lake, one of our other neighbors apparently got some leaves in her engine of her riding lawnmower, and they were on fire. So I refrained because of the seriousness of the situation from yelling across the lake, "Would you like me to call the fire department?" And then turning to my neighbor and saying, "Hey, there's a fire." But I didn't do that, which would have been wrong, but she put it out. She ran and grabbed some water from the lake and dumped it all over her.
Yep.
And took care of that. But Derek outfished me on my own pond. Derek, we were using some finesse tactics, which you and I will get into a little later.
Oh, yeah,
and,
of course. Yeah.
I got a few nibbles. It was slow moving. I was using one color. He was using another. And I made mention, hey, I'm getting hits right here. This is weird. But they're not really hitting it. It's just nibblers, and started laughing. And I moved away from the area, and Derek moved in, and he punished a perch. Punished it.
Oh, really?
Got it to the boat. So Derek beat me out 1 perch to 0. Congratulations, Derek.
Nice,
Round
Derek.
of applause to you.
Dude, nice.
So we then went, Derek was kind enough to wait while I did my making myself pretty for the concert.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then,
you need to.
Yeah, we ran out the door and grabbed a quick bite to eat. He went back down to Southern Connecticut, and then I went and, went down to the concert. It was a blast. So
Nice.
That was pretty much my week. A lot of music, a little bit of fishing. And then, the greatest part was I made my triumphant return to Friday Night Trivia. I haven't been there in a little while. And, got to say hello to some old friends. My buddy Tommy was there, and, I brought my oldest son as usual. I always see you. So that's always a pleasure, of course. And then, of course, Tim Jakes was there.
He was.
With a shirt on, which is just a bonus.
Yeah. It was pretty awesome. And it was really nice that I could throw a little dig in there as well.
Yes.
Yeah, that was good. Friday was a whole lot of fun. I had a great time on Friday night. I did some fishing this week. Actually, honestly, I did quite a bit of fishing this week. I caught 6 in total all week long. Started out Tuesday. I always like to, if I can, because I do. You would think this is episode 89, right? Episode 89, I think. And
I believe so.
Here, every Tuesday that the episode drops, I like to go out and just, pond hop if I'm not taking the kayak out or something like that, and throw in like an earbud, if not 2. And yeah, I'm fishing, but I'm also kind of like doing QC for the show. I want to know, make sure I didn't miss anything when I'm editing. Very rarely I'll go back and fix something I didn't like or something like that, something that might be a little bit weird. But it works out. And so that's I try to do that on Tuesdays. I got into a 13-inch pickerel on a Ned. And actually, every single fish I caught this week was caught on a Ned on the exact same plastic. Which, I don't want to say that that's just a testament to that bait, but also, a year ago at this time, I was losing Ned heads left and right. I would just constantly lose them. But now just the confidence is infinitely better. Friday, I had gone out real quick with my girls. My youngest took the day off from school. My oldest had a half day. So I picked her up with my youngest, and we had hit up a spot. They wanted to walk around a little downtown area. They did that. I fished one area. I'm same place actually where I caught the pickerel, and I caught an 11-inch largemouth. Was like, okay, this is cool, and I was very excited. I was like, oh, that's right, it's the new moon. I'm like, no wonder this is a good thing, because I was getting bites all over the place. It was not the new moon; it was the full moon. Exactly, and I'm like, which
it was. Do you know which moon it was? They all have a name.
The harvest moon.
Incorrect. That's October.
It is October. What is it?
Was
it the blood moon?
Beaver moon.
Shut up. The
I'm
beaver
not
moon?
kidding.
That's a
That is
thing?
what Chronic Trips threw that up, and I had to laugh about it and reposted it. Yes.
Oh,
So.
well, if Chronic Trips posted it, I'm calling it legit. Absolutely.
Oh, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Sure it is though.
The beaver moon. I wonder why beaver for this time of year.
I don't know.
Are their pelts thicker or something? I don't know. I don't know what the I don't know. If you're a beaver expert and you're listening to this show, feel free to leave a comment. Shoot us a DM on Instagram at the Jigs and Bigs account, or fire us an email, jigsandbigs413@gmail.com. I'm curious. Why is it the beaver moon? I know I could just Google it, but I want to engage you guys.
Oh my God. Well, you know what?
Yeah, go ahead.
I have the answers.
If you have
I
answers.
have the answers. All right, ready? I found something called this is from the UK, but
okay,
they're all right.
All right. They got beavers over there.
This has all the names
big beavers
of the moons of the wild beavers.
Yeah.
All right, so this is all the names of the moons and why they're named. You know why they're where the origin of the name, but I'm not going to go into any of the origins until I get to November.
To the beaver.
So,
gotcha.
Yes, get to the beaver. That's where the business end of the beaver. So, we're idiots. We're idiots. January is the wolf moon.
Okay.
February is the snow moon. Very creative.
Okay.
March is the worm moon.
The worm moon. Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. April is the pink moon. May is the flower moon.
Uh-huh.
June is the strawberry moon. July is the buck moon because that's when male deer shed their antlers and they begin to regrow them in July. August is the sturgeon moon. September is the full corn moon is September.
Uh-huh.
It's also called the harvest moon, so I was wrong when I said October was.
Okay.
October's the hunter's moon.
Okay.
November is the beaver moon. Oh boy, right off the bat we got problems.
Okay.
There is disagreement over the origin of November's beaver moon name. Some say it comes from Native Americans setting beaver traps during this month, while others say the name comes from the heavy activity of beavers building their winter dams. Another name is the frost moon. I mean, we could put up another theory as to why it's called the beaver moon, but
we could.
It has to do with insulation.
It does. Yes.
December, another unoriginal one is called the cold moon.
The cold moon? Yeah, I could see that.
Thicker pelts. Yeah, dude. Also known as the beaver moon is also known as the COVID moon.
And that full moon actually lasts for 72 hours because, like most of the COVID decade.
Lasts for a whole decade?
Yeah, it lasts for 10 years. You're like, oh, it's fucking COVID moon. Oh, God. So that brings us to today. I had gone out and done a little bit of fishing, and I was talking with Paul. We were making some moves for Saturday was the initial plan, and I kind of wanted to just get in the truck early with some coffee and bounce around and find some spots, some new stuff. You know, that's what I was looking for, and it ended up Paul had some international art dealings he had to deal with that day, and I'm not being funny. Like literally, there was a guy in the States who is an artist who this guy in Europe had acquired some stuff, and what Paul does is he works for a shipping company that ships to Eastern Europe. So there was this artisan artifact type thing. Object that he had to go and acquire in just outside of Woodstock, New York, actually. And so he's like, my day is shot. He's like, I got to get up first thing in the morning. I drive all that way, but he's like, you know, I'm charging the guy a significant amount of money for it, so it'll be worth it. Like my Christmas shopping will be done. I'm like, great, good for you. So I told him, I said, what's Sunday look like for you? You know. And he says, he goes, well, on Sunday, he's like, we've got church. I probably have about a couple hours. So I said, okay, perfect. I said, let's meet at this one spot. We hadn't fished this one area in a while. Sometime last summer, Paul and I actually doubled up on two like cookie cutter largemouth over there. It was the first time we had ever done this, and we got a picture and a whole nine. And I'm like, this is awesome. And I said, let's meet up over there. And I got there about an hour beforehand. And again, I caught a giant fall fish on a Ned. Well, no, the first fall fish was on a jerkbait, but this one on Ned, and it felt like a bass bite, absolutely. And I'm like, this is unbelievable. So I released that, and I'm like, in my mind, I don't think I've ever caught bass after, especially in the same spot where I've caught a fall fish like that. I think it's just, I could probably look at my records and know for sure, but I've caught fall fish in the past, and I've been like, all right, I probably should move on because I'm not going to catch anything. I caught like 3 or 4 other largemouth there, and decent ones. The biggest one is almost 15, Yeah. So I'm like, this is pretty damn good. It was pretty awesome. There was a guy who had come along the trail where we were fishing. We were fishing right on this one point, and he asked, he's like, oh yeah, do you guys mind if I post up over here and fish a little bit? And where we were, there's this little creek channel that kind of comes down. It gets real narrow, and I kind of like it because it makes for a cool little transition point. So like lots of different times of the year you can find them off of this one point, and he's fishing over there, and I catch the last one. And when he shows up, it was the last one I had caught. He's like, oh, that's huge, blah, 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 blah. That's great. And we start talking, making small talk. I hooked him up with some stickers. And when he took off, he offered us his shiners because he was using live bait. And I was like, no, man, I'm all set. Thank you. I appreciate it. But, I was like, so you can keep them alive. You never know, Yeah. But I'm like, you want to talk about the coolest feeling ever? Like when you hook up and the live fisherman gets skunked.
Yeah.
The live bait fisherman, it really, like, you're just like, wow. It really is like, wow. Like, that is crazy. Like, I know it kind of sounds like a dick move, but I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, because I grew up fishing live bait. I grew up fishing shiners and night crawlers and all kinds of live shit. And cut bait, and I'm like, and it was only, it was only like 2015 maybe when I started fishing almost exclusively with artificial. And it was just, I was like, yeah, it's pretty freaking cool. And it was cold. It was nice, in the sun, it was okay. But like, this morning I woke up and it was less than 30 degrees. It warmed up a little bit, but that water is ice cold. And that's the thing. I mean, I got a little bit of a hard time from my wife while I was telling her I was heading out this weekend to fish. She's like, "What? You're gonna fish all year?" And I was like, "No, but the clock is running out before we have ice." Mm-hmm. And then the issue really becomes, when is it safe ice? Because like that's the real challenge. Like I'm not fooling around with unsafe ice. So I'm like, that's the thing. Like there's a very fragile window right now of open water fishing to when you're actually able to get out on the ice. So, and I don't think, if the weather doesn't, take a good turn down as far as temperature goes, we might not have safe ice for quite a while.
Usually I think I've only seen, since I moved to this house like 6 years ago. We moved houses. The only time I've seen safe ice before Christmas, there's only been like 1 year.
Yeah, it's not often. I feel pretty confident that I'm going to be into December still bank fishing. It's one of those things where like you fish super slow, you bring gloves, you're bundled up like crazy, and you probably fish for like an hour or two, and that's it. A lot of trips back to the car, grab a coffee, warm back up, a lot of that stuff. That's when I like to do a lot of urban fishing too, I find. Where I can duck in like around, like sometimes it's good. Like a building will block the wind and it's not so friggin' crazy. So that's pretty good. And I actually, in our interview segment with Edie, she's a northern angler. She's in Michigan. And I was talking to her with, about, that question. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but the question about bodies of water that as an angler that they prefer. And she said rivers. And then it came up again because I asked her about ice fishing, and she's like, I'm not huge on ice fishing. She goes, but I'll fish rivers all winter. All winter long. She's like, as long as it's safe conditions and everything else. And I'm like, yeah, that's something I think this year I got to turn around. Don't tell Holly that. Little bank sends every once in a while. Those would be those early morning weekday ones. Because I got a good little spot. I like it.
Sweet.
So that about sums up my week. in total.
I got one last thing I want to throw in just before we really,
because before we
hit the crowd with some funny shit.
Yeah, we are.
So, my favorite breakfast place and yours, Mrs. Mitchell's Kitchen.
Oh, that's right.
Had a rare
day
they shut down early on Saturday, this past Saturday, because her oldest son is on the West Springfield soccer team, and they won the Division III title.
Dude, that is huge.
And her son was an integral part of it because with Mrs. Mitchell originating from Ireland, she was not born in the U.S., they still have relatives over there. And I believe during the COVID decade, he stayed over with his relatives. So he got a year of boning up on soccer with European players. So
really?
Yeah, so he came back here and he's good, man. He had a big growth spurt. Before he left, I swear to God, the kid must have grown 6 inches to 8 inches in like 2 years.
That's what happens, though, man.
I mean, he's almost my height now. So, yeah. So congratulations to West Springfield. Nice job, guys. D3 tournament champions for soccer for the state. That's all I got. Well, it's not all I got. We got something.
Yeah, we got something good. So. Let's get into it. So this winter, we made a couple episodes ago, we were kind of joking, and it was like truly just a joke that we're joking like, oh yeah, fishing's getting kind of tough, like these are the times of scraping the bottom of the barrel for content. That could not be further from the truth than it actually is, because just this week, Sean had kind of given me an idea of what the schedule looks like for 2022, and it starts in the winter. Like, it's crazy. We've got some stuff coming up in the holiday season with the shopper's guide, the gift guide, and all that stuff that we're going to go through. Of course, we're going to have some fun with the look back at the last 12 months. Around New Year's and stuff. Sometimes we get into January, that stuff's going to happen. We have a few other things lined up, but you heard me mention earlier that this is our 89th episode. And we did some looking on the calendar, and we realized that our 100th episode is creeping up fast. Like, super fast. And we realized that episode is the week of it is, it's the first week of February. Actually, I think it's the first Tuesday in February, if I'm not mistaken. But this is what we're dealing with here, guys. It's our 100th episode, and we're going to record it in front of a live studio audience. Not just any other episode. It's our 100th. We're celebrating it with a live recording, and we definitely want you guys to join us if you can. Here are the details. It's all going down. It's at the Thomas J. Sullivan Banquet Hall at Nathan Bill's in Springfield, Massachusetts. So this is like a hometown Western Mass, like original OG show right here. It's a massive reason to celebrate. 100 episodes is huge for any podcast, but when you combine two like products of the 90s, like Sean and myself, and the fact that we've made it this long, I think is even more reason to celebrate. It's awesome. Like, it really is. And we owe it all to you guys, the listeners, the jigheads that are subscribed over on Patreon, our followers on Instagram, the followers on our own individual social accounts, all that stuff. You guys are amazing, and we appreciate you a ton. We're planning some great stuff for the episode. You can be assured that we're involving the live audience as much as possible. And earlier this week, I had sent out a link with a poll just to sort of get an idea of what this show, what the live show should kind of be like, what people really were interested in, and what people maybe really didn't care so much about. So taking that information and getting a sample of what people had said, we took all that info and we looked into different venues and options for, the way that we can sort of set this up. We also looked into, as far as guests, a lot of people were really into the idea of engaging the audience, which is awesome because that's exactly what we want to focus on, is engaging the audience. So there's going to be an audience microphone. We're going to have somebody that will be basically fielding questions. Like, you can come up and jump on the mic and be part of the show, ask us stuff. So almost like an AMA. Almost like an ask me anything type situation. We're going to go and talk about all kinds of stuff, tips and tricks, whatever it might be. Who knows? But it'll be an opportunity to pick our brains, have some fun, some laughs and stuff. And of course, because there's a live studio audience, there will also be a room recording happening. So you'll hear yourselves in here, as we're going through and recording all this stuff. I have been reaching out to some special guests. I'm not going to drop a damn thing with who you can expect to be there, but we're working on it. And we're putting some things together, and hopefully you're absolutely going to love it. We've got some surprises for you, and we are going to have some prizes that'll be able to be won as well. We're going to have some merch and stuff that we're going to put together. Of course, we're going to lean on friends of the show to put some cool stuff together, and we're going to have vendors there to boot. So, we'll announce them, I think, as we confirm them. I think is the way we should do this moving on. The deal is this. It's Saturday, February the 5th. Again, it's at Nathan Bill's Bar and Restaurant in the Banquet Hall, the Thomas Sullivan Banquet Hall. It's our 100th episode live podcast recording, and it starts at 7 p.m. That's when we're going to open doors and get people in here. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Big stuff coming. I'm just so excited. It is a fundraiser. We decided that was probably the best way to go ahead and do it. We're going to be presenting a check with the money that has been raised from the tournaments that we've done all this year that we're donating over to Make Massachusetts Fishing Spots Great Again. And on top of that, we're using the proceeds that come in from this show to add to that just a bit more so we can bump it up a little bit more. So it's going to be really awesome. Excited to do that and have a lot of fun. And the ideas are flowing. Like, the ideas are all over the place, right? I don't even want to get into the details because just in case plans change or anything, I don't want to jinx it. So just prepare to have a good time. It's going to be a blast.
Pull your fucking socks up, folks. This is going to be nuts.
And the room, the beauty of it is like, and Sean, you'll see Wednesday if you come out to Shakes Giving Trivia, the room over at Nathan Bill's, the banquet hall, is awesome. It's just the perfect size for what we're trying to do. It's got the right kind of infrastructure for technology, so that it allows us to do a bunch of different things. I'm actually going to be bringing out a larger sound system to kind of give everything a bigger and robust kind of sound, for everybody there. But we're going to have seating available. There is a bar that's right in there, so you don't have to leave to go get drinks or anything like that. You're right in there, and they'll have a server working the tables. But Nathan Bill's also has an awesome menu. So if you want to, the kitchen they're awesome. They churn out all kinds of great stuff. So you're going to love it. Trust me. And it's, the nice thing is going about it this way. We don't have to worry about planning some kind of a buffet or anything like that. We don't have to import bull testicles. There's a lot of things that we don't have to worry about.
We don't have to import bull testicles, but
I never said we won't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is our 100th episode. They're definitely going to be Wagyu balls.
Okay.
100%. Yeah. Only the best. Only the best for our listeners.
Only the fucking best.
Only the best. So yeah, it's a $10 ticket. We're doing this all on Eventbrite. The tickets launch on Black Friday. You will see a link. We're going to have a link on our website on jigsandbigs.com. We're also going to have a link on our social media all over the place. And Sean, I want to throw this out there. I don't know if you've been aware of this, but remember the reason why I wanted to work so hard at getting to 10,000 followers was to have the ability to share links.
Yeah, the old swipe.
Yeah, to be able to swipe up and share links. You know that now it's just a sticker. Anybody can do it. Go ahead and just pop a link on. You share that link. So, yeah. But, we still hit that 10,000 in record time, so I'm still happy about that. But you guys are awesome. It's just Instagram was like, hey, cool, nice, you did this. Have a few months of it being exclusive. Now everybody go ahead and do it.
Grab the pitchforks and the torches. We'll teach those motherfuckers a lesson.
It's going to get meta in here.
It's going to get Facebook?
It is going to get Facebook. It's going to get something.
See what I did there?
Very cool. We're doing the ticket sales on Eventbrite. Links will be available for you guys to check out. I'm actually, the other thing I was doing this week was building the Spotify playlist. The Jigs and Bigs Volume 2 playlist a little bit, throwing some songs on there that have kind of been sort of, Sean had gone to go see Opeth and Mastodon. I put a couple of those songs on there. It was mentioned in the show. I talked about the Flaming Lips. I put some songs on there.
Cody, a long time ago, I mentioned
Carlton.
the last...
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Cody mentioned the last Knife Fighters.
Yep.
He fired some of his stuff up there.
Oh, yeah. And I think, I think we had talked... in the past, there were some artists that didn't make it that I know we talked about on the show that I added over there too. And then some fishing songs that I just thought were kind of fun as well. So that list is available for you guys on Spotify to go check out. I think it's about an hour long now. Volume 1 is like 5 or 6 hours long at this point. It's crazy. So if you guys want to listen to some funny shit, go for it. Check it out. It is all over the place, like truly all over the place. Of course, we've got merch available if you're interested in sporting some Jigs and Bigs attire. And there is new merch coming. There is new merch coming. We're working some details on some designs and getting some things out there. New stuff is available, but if you want to stock up, you can go ahead and go for it. There is talk about the release of very soon a winter cap, a beanie. That would definitely be helpful because I need one, man. I wore the shit out of my Hookset Hoodlums one last year, and I think this is the year for a Jigs and Bigs knit cap. I think that would be a good thing. Yeah, and we got more stuff that we're going to add over there, of course, with our merch. Some specialty design, some limited run stuff that's going to be really good. Like, I think you guys are really going to like this. And Sean and I have some real exclusive Jigs and Bigs merch. We have these, it's outerwear. We have these like 3-season jackets. They're fleece lined on the inside. They're rainproof. Just really like slick embroidered logo, real simple, and they look great. I've been wearing mine actually quite a bit. I wore mine Thursday when the weather was so nice. I was like, yeah, this is nice and light. It's not, this sweatshirt is lined. It's crazy heavy. It's warm as hell. And I wore that out there and I actually got compliments on it. And would you guys like if we made that available for you? I'm curious. Go ahead and hit us with some comments and, let us know a little bit of feedback. Would you guys be down for some outerwear for Jigs and Bigs? Because we could make that happen. It's definitely possible. Maybe limited run. Who knows? We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Maybe.
And then, of course, the fishing report. We got a fishing report out this week, folks. Not this week. Last week we did. Yeah. And, if we can attest to anything, in fact, I got to jump in on this because I think with my fishing just today in general, I can give a little bit of feedback on what was working and all that stuff and provide a little bit because just because it's cold doesn't mean they're not going to bite. They will. You just got to pray.
Yeah. While we're thinking of it, when we go to break here in a minute, I'll make sure that I get you on our thread for the fishing report. So I forgot to do that this week.
Yeah, I think that'll be good. And, you can always check out the fishing report, northeastwildwoman.com, and make sure to give Cheryl a follow on Instagram as well. She's got some good stuff on there. Things are getting exciting. She's deer hunting. It's getting real. It's getting a lot of people are out deer hunting.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. We consort with a lot of hunters.
We really do. It's pretty crazy. I feel like we don't have enough venison sausage coming our way necessarily. And maybe we need to rectify that.
I think so. I just don't think you and I don't have the abilities to rectify that ourselves.
No, I don't. That's what I'm saying. So maybe bribery is what we need to work on. That's maybe the thought. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe everyone needs to take a page out of the Jerry Multi-House book and just show up and say, "Hey guys, got you some steaks." Which I still have yours in the freezer, by the way. That's waiting for you. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. I'm excited. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with it, but I'm going to think on it. I'm going to think on it, and I'm going to put together some culinary goodness. I would like to stroke another local business here quickly. A neighbor of Mrs. Mitchell's, Strum's Deli in Holyoke.
Okay.
I stopped over at Strum's this week to pick up. There is one item that I cannot get anywhere else because they make it themselves. They're smoked pork chops. And they're out of this world. They're great. I like to come in a 2-pack. I'll usually, use them both within about a week or so. I'll usually they're just so good, man. They're so good. And, Strum's also has a really, really great lineup of sausages. They'll do, I know they do a garlic and cheese. They have a couple of different Italian sausages. They do, and kielbasa's, oh my God, they do a cheddar jalapeno that'll freaking slap your mom. It is so tasty. But the one I like the most is their andouille sausage.
Ooh.
Yeah, I love andouille. And this morning I made a nice little scramble with some hash brown potatoes and andouille sausage. And I did, like any good, Creole chef would do the trinity with the onion and the celery and the green pepper, a little bit of Tony's, and you want to talk about eating good? So damn good. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm not even proofreading this.
I just saw this.
I'm not even proofreading this. I have to see this. It's our good friend, our homie Ellie says, you ever just wake up from a nap and cut the cheese so successfully that every wall in your home looks at you in judgment? Yeah. Only thing better is when you've farted yourself awake from a great nap. That's the only way to one that up, Ellie. That's the only way to one that up. Speaking of, I'm glad Ellie's here. We want to have her there live. At Jigs and Bigs Live on February the 5th. So we need to make that happen. We definitely need to make that happen. Farting yourself awake. It's a thing, folks. It's a movement. It's how.
Are we just, is that going to be like our opening act? Ellie just we give her some sort of sleep medication. She farts herself awake. I
suppose.
We could do that.
Here's a can of beans, Ellie, and some Simply Sleep.
Yeah.
Just periodically throughout the show. There is rumors that Chicopee Chet might be in tow. And who knows? Who knows? Maybe Howie will make his way back stateside in time for this. Who knows?
I don't know. I don't know if that. Jesus, Ellie. I don't know if. I don't know if Howie's going to make it back. If him and Bobcat only had a dildo to defend themselves with, I mean,
you think the Jaguars got them?
I think they've been cut to ribbons. The dildo, Howie, and as Howie's now calling him Boob Scratch,
which I love, Boob Scratch. Yeah. Watch out, Boob Scratch. I don't know if you guys happen to see this, but because of that call, I had to share this. But someone had posted, and this was a repost. Someone had posted a shot of their electronics, and he says, "Not sure what kind of structure this is."
Yep.
I had to share it after that, and I think I put somewhere in there. I was like, I think if you look close enough, it actually says Lockwood on the base. Yeah, right on the base. I think it actually says Lockwood. So
it might have been one of his lures that he snagged on the bottom.
Could have been. Yep. Yeah.
Sinking model.
Going diving for those bottom feeders,
Yeah, exactly.
Growth. Oh, my goodness, guys. So we're going to take a quick break, guys. We've got more show coming up after this. We got Just the Tip and FTG for you this week. A really, really interesting FTG you're not going to want to miss. We got George Costa called us, and he gave us a conundrum. It's like a fuck witch guy. You'll see what I mean in a minute. It's an interesting situation. Then in Just the Tip, if you want to know what's working for us in the cold water, we're going to share that info for you. We're going to let you know. There's a lot of options out there, and it's definitely a buzz right now. People are talking about, oh yeah, fall baits, or now some folks are even talking winter baits. When the water's that cold. If you're up here up north, the water's getting that cold. I mean, it's in the low 40s in some spots. I mean, it's getting there. Cold rain and stuff, it's dropping. So what's been working for us, we're going to let you know, and we'll go ahead and get that started right after this quick message. We'll see you. Jigs and Bigs is proud to announce we're being supported by Old Glory Outdoors. They're a veteran-owned company that carries fishing and hunting gear. Plus, they're highly active in supporting veteran organizations and charities. Old Glory is an authorized dealer of favorite rods, FX rods, Guggen baits, X-Zone lures, Sixth Sense, and many more. There's a brick-and-mortar store located in East Brookfield, Massachusetts, but you can also order online at oldgloryoutdoors.com. They ship anywhere in the lower 48 states or order online and pick up at the store. When you order, use the promo code JIGS and BIGS, and you'll save 10% off your complete order. Plus, you'll help support the show. Make sure to check out the apparel line called OGO Gear while you're there. Old Glory Outdoors believes in the slogan, "Start 'em young," to keep kids away from screens and enjoying nature. They've got a full array of live bait too. Check out oldgloryoutdoors.com and use the promo code JIGS and BIGS. Save some money and gear up now.
Bobby and Sean now have a special presentation for us all. They'd like to give everyone just the tip.
Yeah. It's very true. Miss that guy. Miss having him around the office here. You know, running around fetching coffee, brewing the monsoon.
All his wacky pranks, which I know. Just,
it's not the
same.
Hope
he makes it out. Hope he makes it out in India. That's all I can tell.
That's crazy.
Okay.
Hopefully the Jaguars don't get him too badly. We'll see what happens.
They're armed. They have a weapon.
They are.
He and Boob Scratch.
They're in good hands, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, we got just the tip this week, guys, and this week what it is that we're talking about is we're basically getting into all things Ned in the cold. I feel like it's kind of proven itself as a great cold water bait, but I think it gets overlooked a lot. I think a lot of folks are really like they just gotta power fish. You know what I mean? Like they just gotta have a moving presentation. They got, you know what I'm saying? Like something. And I mean, the Ned produces, and Sean is the one that, kind of introduced me to the Ned years ago. And I feel like it takes a little bit to sort of understand the power that one bait has. But Sean, why don't you go ahead and dive in, and then I'll like I said, I'll jump off of things that you say, because I've got I am firmly a believer.
Yeah. Why I use a Ned.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and this goes into my whole theory the way I compute things in my head for fishing, whether it's competitive or otherwise. The Ned is a finesse technique. We all know that and agree on it. It's, even the inventor of the technique doesn't even call it a Ned rig, because the guy's name is Ned. I forget his last name, and I apologize to him. There's no way he's listening, but whatever, the apology's there. He actually named it a Midwestern finesse rig.
Yep.
Because he's from the Midwest, and that's where it was developed. So that setup, that little tiny jig head, whether it's exposed or not, I've been a big proponent of the extra wide gap ones, because I get really brave with those things. I don't use them in open water all the time. I throw them into shit. Yeah. And when you're using that and going with that sort of finesse technique, not only does it work in weather-wise and environmental finesse situations, such as, you got a cold front moving in, the fish aren't moving much, but they're willing to pick up, they don't want a steak, whole big, 4-ounce steak. They want a potato chip.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And if something falls in front of them, they'll hit that. But also, this is where I think it shines, is in highly pressured situations. So you go to a place that has 50 tournaments a year, you're going to find that things like Ned rigs are going to produce more, because the fish are going to remember those big giant, whopper ploppers skimming over their heads, and they're going to know not to go up. They might, if there's heavy recreational traffic, they might not even go for that surface bite after, the first hour after the sun comes up. Yep. That Ned rig has shined since I really started using it I think I started using it 3 or 4 years ago. It has absolutely shined for me. It's not always the first thing I go to at a highly pressured lake. It usually is. At this point now, I have a rod rigged up specifically for Ned rigs, because they are just so productive. And that's really why I don't use a drop shot, because I feel that I can get to the bottom and just use a slightly heavier jig head. Yeah. And I prefer the straight contact that provides versus a Ned rig, where your contact is with the bottom, and with the drop shot. I don't feel that I get that straight contact, and I like using that Ned rig for that. But like I said, highly pressured lakes or situations where the fish aren't, it's not pre-spawn. So that also comes into winter, which, really, we've been catching a lot of fish on Ned rigs over the past month and a half, you and I. I mean, I don't think
yeah.
I caught much on anything else. Like
Same.
an occasional jerk bait or a chatter, the odd fish that's fired up enough to hit a chatter bait, but they're few and far between this time of year. Whereas a smaller finesse presentation, just it turns them on.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny. You nailed it. Like I love a jerkbait bite, and everybody knows that a jerkbait is huge in cold water. Like it's a great performer. Suspending jerkbait, like they work so well. My PB was caught on a jerkbait in really cold water, and I think that a lot of times, like that's a reaction strike, but it's a different reaction strike. It's a slower presentation. It's not like a reaction strike like a flipping setup. You know what I mean? You're not throwing a 1 ounce, literally in a bunch of weeds, trying to hit them in the face with it. This is where there's a little bit of movement and it stops, and that next little tiny bit of movement kind of triggers them to go. But a Ned rig, like I feel like when it's cold and pressure is definitely a big one there. There's still so many ways that you can fish it. I think when I first started using them, I was really associating it with it was an alternative to a finesse jig.
Yep.
In some ways,
and it is.
In some ways, a lighter finesse jig, because most of my finesse jigs, or what they will call finesse jigs, they run a weight gamut that's much, much larger than your typical, jig that you would use for a Ned. I remember when I would tell people that I would use, even I had 1/4 ounce Ned heads, and people would say, "Oh yeah, so you must be fishing like super deep water," and I'm like, yeah, like 10, 15 foot max.
That's the same thing.
Yeah, I didn't realize that it was that I was that overkill. This was the first year that I went down to a 16th ounce tungsten EWG, and it changed everything. You can put so many nowadays, especially there's so many different types of plastics that you can put on as far as shapes. And in some situations you can use a standard size plastic, but trim it down a little bit, and it's a great Ned bait. You can swim them. You can, I've had a lot of fish hit them on the fall. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll try to rig a bait that's more flat. Like that's part of the reason why I like these D-bombs so much, because they're flat. They fall a little bit differently, and
slower.
Yeah, it's really it's something that's pretty awesome. But I will say, like, if you're a power fisherman and that's how you lean most of the time, and I've seen people do this where you'll explain to them, you're like, yeah, man, the Ned is gold. Like it's just money. It's money in the bank. Throw a Ned. A lot of people, they try to do that like a jig hook set with a Ned, and it's a different animal. Like it's a much, much finer wire hook. There are power Ned baits. They exist, or power Ned terminal tackle, big, heavy wire, hooks. But for the most part, they're more fine wire hooks, like, throw it on a really light setup. But it's funny, like you said, like now I've got, it's so crazy because I like to drop shot. I really do. And I bought, early this year, I bought a new spinning outfit with the goal being I was going to drop shot everything on that. And I upgraded another spinning combo specifically to have a Ned and other various baits. But it's between those two, It's fantastic. I mean, it's just, and look at like my father. This is a good explanation. Like when we were in Champlain, that guy caught 5 like great fish, all on one Ned plastic, and there's such a variety out there.
Yep. For weights for myself, I stick with 3 weights, and for different reasons. I keep my general one that I use for all my smaller plastics is a 1/16.
Yeah.
Then I move up in case I go to deeper water and I want to keep those smaller plastics on. Then I move up to a 1/8.
Yep.
If I can't find a 1/8, I've used 3/16 in the past. I try to keep it as close to 1/8 as I can.
Yep.
And then for bigger baits, because it generally it goes from a 1/0 to a 2/0 hook, I use a 1/4. But that's for bigger baits, and I use that in specific situations. That's basically later in the season where I'm throwing a jig, and instead of throwing a jig in the summer. Because sometimes I find that there's places where the fish don't want that big bulky jig. They want that slimmed down appearance. And that if I'm using the same trailer, I've said it before.
Yeah.
I'll use the same jig trailers that I do for Ned rigging, and I go from there. And then it's just a matter of slimming, figuring out what shape they want from there. But it's the same size, the same weight, just not the bulk of the jig.
I think the thing that really gets me is, and I said it actually in the interview, it's ironic that we have this as just the tip this week, is that a lot of ways, like, I have a much more broad use of the word jig. And I think you do too, actually, because there's a lot that I put into that family. And one of the examples is like a swinging football head jig. I'll use those, I've got a wide array, half ounce all the way down to a quarter, and the hook sizes that go with them. The ones that I use, I think I've been primarily using reaction tackle, and they're awesome. There's some that I have seen where you can switch them out. It's just the weight. And you can switch out the hook size, to kind of customize it. So I kind of want to play with that idea, but it's sort of the same idea. You use a larger plastic, like I've used, like a Pit Boss style, or like not the Smalley beaver, but like the sweet beavers.
Yep.
Like the full
flappers.
size, the flappers. That's what it is. Yep. Like the full size, and you pop them on there, and it's basically the same sort of fishing. Like there's a lot that you can do with it, but it's weighted at the head, and you can kind of do a shit ton with it. I love it. So if you're not throwing a Ned, throw it. You got nothing to lose.
Bottom line.
Yep.
Bust out the Ned. Just start experimenting with it and find the way it works for you, because when the bite gets tough, whether it's because of people or it's because of the weather, you're going to find fish with a Ned rig. I'm not going to speak for a drop shot. I'm going to speak for a Ned rig. I'm all about the Ned. It's been too successful for me. And a lot of times when you talk to other anglers, they don't get into what they're doing with a Ned rig, but they'll say like, yep, Ned rig. And you'll find them.
That's the thing too. I mean, I think with the versatility, like there's a lot that you can do with a Ned. There really, really is.
I have one of my whole little tackle bags that I keep of plastics is just labeled Ned rig stuff.
Yeah.
And that's all I dig into that pretty good. There's a lot I do with it. And, and people have heard, we even said it this year, like I had really kind of given up on Zoom baby brush hogs.
Yeah.
And I did a little modification and fucked around with them and found a way to Ned rig them that I like, and that's productive. So it fills a niche for a certain bite that goes on. Yeah. That maybe they won't hit, if I'm Ned rigging a flapper, they won't hit that, but they won't hit a small paddle tail, but they want something in between, and that fills that gap.
It's funny you say that, man, because like one of my favorites is a curly tail grub.
Yeah,
on a
exactly.
Ned.
That's old school, man.
Yeah, like I'm all about it. Like I think it's such a great presentation. So I recommend it. Go and give it a shot. If you got the gear, grab a pack of nice light jig Ned heads. And like I said, I think the EWG. If a lot of people will fear the Ned because they're afraid of losing baits. They're afraid of breaking off and stuff. And I get it. Like I don't like to fish a lot of exposed hook stuff. Even like when I fish an underspin, I usually fish a style where I've got a screw in the plastic and I can then hide that hook along the back. And it's just my preference, but I highly, highly recommend it. Although I have heard if you're fishing an exposed hook, use a lighter jig than you think. And you're less likely to lose them. I don't know. I forget where I heard that, and it could be horseshit. Who knows? These days, the internet.
Bottom line, if you're not using the Ned, give it a try.
Yeah.
Roll it up. See what happens. Let us know. Thank us.
Yep.
Praise us.
And we're
here for you.
We should say, as a multi-species lure,
it's insane.
It's probably the king.
Yeah.
I mean, it really, you taught me that, and I was not necessarily a believer, but yeah, 100%. I mean,
it's everything. In one single day, you could catch 30 rock bass, a bunch of trophy smallmouth,
trout,
maybe even a 25-pound carp. One. That's just one example of what may have happened to me. May or may not have happened. Yeah. Give it a try, fuckers.
Freaking bananas, guys. I like it. So I think I just have to mention this because this comment's been sitting here this whole time and I can't not address it. Ellie says that she's a fan of jerk baits, and then she says that she likes jerking it in sweater weather. That's our Ellie. Gal.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah. I love it. Okay. All right. Are you ready for this?
Dude, I'm never ready, and yet I'm always ready at the same time. What does that say?
Yeah, I know. It tells me that you're. I don't know. There's a lot of mixed messages there.
Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. Well, the big question we're left here is which guy? Who's the guy? Because George Costa called us and he shared an experience that he had at a boat launch. And I'm going to go ahead and dive right into this now. But we'll circle back around and see what you guys think. We're going to have a discussion about it and figure out how this all comes together. So here we go.
What's up, guys? George Costa, Swimbait 508. I have a fuck which guy for you. So... Ooh. This particular morning, I had to be off the pond by 9 o'clock. I told my wife, 9 o'clock, I'll be off the water. I promise I'll be home. I roll around the corner. I look over to the ramp, and there's a couple wrecked kayakers putting their boats in the water. Now, one of them's already in the water. The other one is trying to wrangle his dog to get on his kayak and get out there. Dog's not having it. He's running back and forth. The guy's trying to chase him down. He finally gets the dog on the boat, but he leaves his truck in the middle of the ramp. His truck is on the ramp, blocking the ramp, which I need to get my boat out and my car down. So he starts paddling out. He leaves his truck there. So I'm like, what the fuck? So they start paddling towards me, and I have to say something. I can't just say nothing. So I say, hey, I said, yeah, just so you know, your truck is blocking the whole ramp. I can't get my boat in and out easy, nor can anybody else. Maybe next time, if you could, just get your kayaks in the water and then park your truck. He goes, oh, sorry, I'll turn around, I'll move it, he says. I said, oh, you don't have to do that. Please, don't worry. I'll just drag my boat past your truck. It's no problem, but next time, just don't do that. He turns around. The other guy turns around. They go back to the truck. They insisted on moving it. Maybe I was kind of firm with him. I don't know. So now I have to get out of there. I have to. We're pushing 9 o'clock here. I'm gonna get in trouble. And the guy gets up out of his kayak with his dog. Dog jumps out, runs away again. The other guy's still in the water. And once the guy gets his dog all wrangled, he goes to his truck. He pulls back some crutches out of his truck. And he actually gives the crutches to the guy that's in the other kayak. And this guy comes out of his kayak and he don't have any legs. I felt like such an asshole. I just told them to move. The guy has no legs. He's just trying to go have fun kayaking. They move the truck. I say thank you very much. I was feeling like an asshole. Fuck me. But fuck him for leaving that truck at the ramp. And fuck the state for not having good places where these handicapped people can have easy access to our water. Who do we fuck here? I don't know. You pick.
I love the honesty in his story. And he's like, and fuck me.
Georgie's really struggling with a lot of shit here.
There's a lot of shit going on. Oh, man.
When you ran this by me and you told me this story, initially I was like, okay, well, fuck those guys. And then I thought about it, and you said Georgie had said fuck himself, and I'm like, it sounded like Georgie's a polite guy. I don't think he's at fault here at all. And then he had to leave. You know what I mean? And then he said fuck the state, and then I'm like, well, I don't think we can blame the state on this.
I think that's a bit of a stretch, but
yeah, even if they had a handicapped ramp specifically,
Yeah.
you know that guy would have parked in the fucking middle of it, and no one would have been able to get around. It's just,
I think ultimately, I wrestled with this for quite some time, probably too much. But I think ultimately we got to fuck those two guys. I think ultimately is what it gets down to.
Well, fuck the guy that left the truck there with the legs.
Yeah, the driver.
The driver. Whoever left the truck there, I mean, regardless of handicapped or not, get your dog in a fucking boat and get your truck out of the way.
Exactly.
That's easy enough.
Yep.
So, Georgie, you're in the clear on this.
Yeah.
We think you're innocent.
And he also didn't know. Like, it's not like he was aware. He was like, this guy over here has a challenge to get into the water. I'm going to fucking mess his day up. Like, the two things were unrelated. This is not on George at all. And, the state is, I think you're right. It's like, it's a tough situation. But, yeah, I mean, dude, you can't leave.
The state does actually provide quite a bit of handicap access for fishermen, anglers.
As much as they can, yeah.
Yeah, they do, I think, a pretty good job of it. I mean, it's not going to be every body of water. The state doesn't have that kind of money. Let's be realistic here. But it's also not like, with Georgie not knowing, it's not like this guy was paddling around going, I have no legs.
Oh, my God.
I have no legs.
That's a great freaking...
I have no legs.
What movie is that from?
It's not that... wasn't it?
Kids?
I think it was.
I think it was. Yeah, okay, all right.
So we just reached back to the 90s for that one.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give Georgie the pass here.
Yep.
The state doesn't have the money, so they get the pass. The guy with no legs gets the pass.
Yep.
It's the driver with the legs that parked in the wrong spot. And I'm gonna give this a mild fuck that guy. You know why?
Why is that?
I'm gonna just bust out a personal STF story here.
Oh.
Some nights when I go night fishing at that spot you and I went to.
Yep. You just leave your truck right there.
Right in the middle of the fucking ramp. If it's 1 o'clock in the morning, I don't think anybody's going down there. But this was not 1 o'clock in the morning.
That's
so
true.
I want this to be the mildest fuck that guy we've ever delivered.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's 100% fair. I would go on to say this much though. Recently, I think it was late September, early October. I did the same shit. I was at. I'm gonna say where I was. I was at Lake Metacomet in Belchertown, and I had loaded up. Paul and I were doing our thing, and I pulled up because I had the trailer and everything. So I backed the kayak in, and I set everything up, and I go and I left the tailgate open on the back of my my Escape, and I had taken all my gear out and everything was cool. In fact, I had my big tackle backpack there with a bunch of stuff, and I just got in the boat and I started paddling off and went about my way, and everything was great, or so I thought. And then as I'm kind of like turning around, I look over and I see that not only is my trailer blocking the ramp right there, it's sitting right there, but I left the tailgate wide open. The freaking lift gate is wide open. And I'm like, you dumb bastard. So I pedal back in, get out of the boat, go move the truck and the trailer, park it, come back and go. But yeah, that's rough.
We've heard a number of boat ramp FTG topics over this year, right?
Follies.
I mean,
if you
really, the biggest, this is definitely the smallest infraction. It's just leaving the boat and the trailer and their trailer or whatever they had.
Yep.
Or goddamn it, the truck. Leaving their truck on the ramp. This is not. I mean, I think this is the lowest end of the fuck that guy scale, where it's kind of like a fuck that guy. Whereas the opposite end of the scale, the person that deserves the fuck that guy more than any human being we've ever heard of is the idiot washing his boat at the ramp at Otis.
Oh,
and he gets a fuck that guy. You know what I mean? There's levels of fuck that guy. I guess kind of fuck that guy, and then fuck him in his eyeballs. Yeah. Fuck him washing your boat at a ramp.
Detailing his tires and shit.
Yeah. Fuck, he's got a vacuum, whatever.
Morons.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something else. You make me remember something that we had spoken about within the last couple of weeks that we hadn't talked about on the air, and that's we're thinking about doing an award show, guys. A special award show, almost like Jigs and Bigs superlatives, if you will, included in there. Maybe a mashup of these two elements. So we're thinking about awarding the biggest offender of the fuck that guy, or the best just the tip, or we'll come up with a list of nominations and things like that. Maybe we'll like put it up to you guys, but we've really been liking using SurveyMonkey, so we'll get some feedback and utilize that as a tool to make it happen. The question is this: what should we call the awards? I mean, I think that Sean suggested the name the Beefies.
The Beefies or the Fuckies.
Or the Fuckies. I really like the Beefies. I think it's great. I think that we could probably do some kind of a physical award, or maybe even something that's graphic that people could put on their social media to put out there. That way it's kind of keeps things nice and easy and friendly. Like a frame,
Ooh.
A frame of beef.
The old beef frame.
The old beef frame. Oh, gross. I'm such a piece of shit. Oh my goodness.
No, you're not. You didn't wash your car at the ramp.
That's true. I did move it though when I blocked the freaking the jam right there. So yeah, I do. I'm with you. I think this is a mild case of FTG. But I definitely see George's confusion. And yes. Yeah. I think it's interesting. Oh, well, guys, we are going to take a quick break. We'll be back with our third segment. In this segment, we have Edie Wilkinson. That is Bass Queen 83. Check her out on Instagram. She's got some good stuff going. She's working with some really great companies, and trust me, you're gonna love her. She's got a great story to tell. Very, very, very unique. We will see you guys in just a bit. Don't go too far. We'll see you on the other end of this break. Jigs and Bigs is proud to announce that we're being supported by Three Bells Outfitters. Located in Smith Cove on the Niantic River, TBO is Connecticut's premier paddle sports retailer. They're a full-service shop specializing in kayaks and paddleboards for everything from recreation to tournament fishing. Three Bells is an authorized dealer of Hobie, Jackson, Feel Free, Native, and Bonafide kayaks, as well as many paddleboard brands. Not sure of what kind of SUP or kayak you want? TBO offers free demos of all brands. Want to go for an extended test drive? They have a full-service rental facility on site. Three Bells also offers a complete rigging service for your kayak with such brands as Yak Attack, Yak Gear, Burley Pro, Yak Power, Torpedo, and more. The sky is the limit. You can visit Three Bells Outfitters in person or online at threebellsoutfitters.com. They ship anywhere in the lower 48 states, or order online and pick up at the store. Can't make it to the store to pick up your kayak, or worried the freight company might damage your purchase? Three Bells Outfitters offers a white glove delivery of kayaks within a 225-mile radius of their store at a rate less than typical freight carriers. They will deliver your kayak, set it up, and answer any questions you may have. Be sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Don't forget to tell them Jigs and Bigs sent you. Three Bells Outfitters, because life is better on the water. Hey guys, what's up? Bobby Roast Beef here with our interview segment in the beef seat this week. I've got a guest that I've been looking to have on here for quite some time. It's Bass_Queen 83. It's Edie Wilkinson. She's a mom. She's a bass fisherman. She's an outdoor addict. She also represents a couple of pretty amazing companies as well. And she's got a story that is going to blow you away. Let's pull back the beef curtain here a little bit, and I'll give you guys a little bit of insight. I go and look around on social media to find some folks that I think are interesting, that I want to know more about, and I came across Edie's profile, and I said, I've got to have her on the show because it's amazing. Edie, how are you? How's things?
I'm good. Things are good.
Good. Very, very good.
Cold.
Yeah, it is cold. It's getting now. You're in the Midwest. Whereabouts are you?
Yes, I am in Middlebury, Indiana. It is just a few miles south of the Michigan line.
Gotcha. So you've been actually, I think, dealing with some colder temperatures a little bit earlier on than I think even I was in Massachusetts.
Yeah, it's been chilly for sure.
Yeah, no, I believe it. I definitely believe it. So I'm going to go ahead and set the stage, Edie. But I'm going to tell you, there was a video that I saw on your profile, on your Instagram profile, and it was you. I forget if it was either like a part one in a series, and I couldn't find the next part, or I ran out of time and wasn't able to see the whole thing. But it was one of these things.
Or I haven't posted part 2.
Oh, that could have been it too. But,
yeah, that could be it.
I was so on the edge of my seat, like, oh my God, I couldn't believe this. And it was a story. You were in your car, just kind of talking to the camera and telling your story about like how you discovered bass fishing and everything else. And I was riveted by it. I was like, this is so like unique. And like I asked a lot of folks the same question. We'll get to that in just a minute, but I ask a lot of people the same thing, and I get very, very similar answers. You're not that situation necessarily, and I think that that's in a lot of ways refreshing and very interesting. So if you could share your story of like where you came from to how it is that you began this long-term love affair with bass fishing in the outdoors, to the point now where you're representing, your tournament fishing, you're representing multiple brands of outdoor products, and like you're running with this thing, and you're like busier than most people. Let's be honest.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I'm saying?
That's an understatement.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things. I mean, I'm a parent too, but like, nothing like, what you're dealing with is a next level. It really is. So please, if you could set our listeners up so they know what it is, how they kind of have an idea of how you discovered fishing, and sort of your path to getting here.
Okay. Well, I'm Edie Wilkinson. I'm a 38-year-old mom of 3 kids. I grew up in a small town in northern Michigan, in an Amish community, actually. So I grew up Amish, left home as a teenager, and have been on my own ever since. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I actually, I'm going to fast forward a little bit to sort of what kicked into the bass fishing thing, which is I met my husband, and he ended up passing away in 2016. So it was a couple years after that, actually, that it was a friend that I worked with, and he was big into fishing and stuff, and he asked me if I'd like to go with him, and so I said, okay. And I did not do much fishing as a kid. Mm-hmm. I have 5 brothers and 5 sisters and my dad, and they were, like, my brothers and dad were big into hunting and fishing and stuff, but I didn't do much. I did some, but not until I met my friend, and I went fishing with him a couple of different times, and was, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't something that, I was doing all the time or whatever. Mm-hmm. Up until a few years ago, he asked me if I would fish a holiday derby with him, and it was on the 4th of July. Nice. On the St. Joe River. Yep. So that was my first tournament, and what a day it was. We went most of the day. I think he had like 2 fish in the live well. And I lost more fish than you can shake a dang stick at. Yeah. all day long, and did not land one up until, I think we had maybe 45 minutes, something like that, before weigh in. And I hooked another big one this time, and got it all the way up to the boat, lost it. Wow. Yeah. This lady had kind of a meltdown. I mean,
we've all been there.
I sat down. I was like, "Yeah, I'm done. I can't do this. I don't want to fish anymore." And my partner was like, "Well, if you don't get up and cast at least one more time, I'm going to kick your butt off the boat." So, and he meant it. Like, he would have kicked me off the boat. So I got up and I cast again and landed my personal best.
And that's awesome.
And then just, caught a couple more. We had a nice bag, and ended up winning the tournament. So,
no shit.
And that was it. It was, I was hooked.
That's awesome.
That was it for me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly how it is.
Fished quite a few different circuits with him. And then last year was when I got into kayak fishing a little bit.
Yep.
This season I did a couple of different national tournaments and stuff that I was into with the kayak as well. But yeah, it's been a crazy couple of years.
Yeah, I would say so. That's amazing. Like, just to go from, I mean, everybody's been there where they've just been like, the confidence is shaken. They're like, what the hell am I doing here? In fact, word on the street is there's a little video of myself and my good friend, and where I just needed to document that we're not good at this, just in case the boat capsized or something happened. So that it was documented. And, I mean, but to have such extremes literally within a cast of each other, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it was pretty epic.
That's awesome. That's huge. So you jumped in, I mean, you got right into tournament fishing right away. Have you always sort of had a competitive spirit?
I've always been extremely competitive.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yep. I like winning.
Yep.
And I like competition. It's fun. It's exciting. It's an adrenaline rush, and I just enjoy it a lot.
I think that's got a lot to do with it. Like I like to say I dabble, and when I say I dabble, I dip my big toe into the competitive fishing area. Otherwise, all my competition is really for myself. But Sean the Fisherman like lives for fishing competitively. I would say he almost doesn't fun fish. It's such a small experience or a small amount of times he'll get out on the water where there isn't necessarily competition going on or anything like that.
Well, during the season when all of the Surreys are going and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a rare treat that to just go fun fish, which I think is needed during that time, just to decompress and
break it
remember what fishing's really all about.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more with you. As far as like the preferences of when you're fishing, when you're out there on the water, like what's your preferred time of year to be out there? Like not necessarily just because the bite is best or anything like that, but what is it that you as an angler enjoy most in the environment? Like what season? When I can be barefoot and a tank top. Yeah. So you're looking for those July days. I love when it's hot out. Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. When it gets cold, I will be bundled up to where I can barely wiggle. And it just, I don't like cold at all. Do you ice fish as well? Well, I did a little bit as a kid with my dad. But that, aside from that, I have gone one time. Last winter, we were halfway, 3/4 through the winter, I think, probably. And I was like, itching to fish, You do what you gotta do. The water everywhere, and I'm like, man. So we went out and bought some ice fishing gear, just not anything exciting or anything like that, because we were like, just gonna give it a shot. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Drilled the hole, the auger, hand and stuff, and sat there on the bucket for like 5 minutes, and I was like, I can't do this. Yeah. Like it's cold. I'm just sitting here. I need ice skates, something. Like I'm not really into this. So it's funny, like there's so many, especially northern anglers like us. I find that there's a population who they almost exclusively ice fish. Like that's just what they do. They're not in the boats. They're not in anything else. They'll get out there and they'll ice fish. That's kind of like where they're in their element. People that just, they eat it up, or they might ice fish there, or they might fish open water as well. But in the winter, it just doesn't stop them. They'll get out there and they're like, oh great, there's ice. Awesome. And then you have some that it's more of a social thing, which is where I think I fit in. I like to be out there, eating food, maybe having a couple of beers, oh, we caught some fish. That's wonderful. Yeah. But then you have, you get a big shanty and some whiskey and a heater and all that. I'm in. Now you're talking. And I think that, there's been a lot of years, I would say like relatively recently where I am in New England, we maybe didn't exactly have safe ice. So it was like to get into a big shanty or something like that, there are some years where you just might not be able to use it. But if you're in like Minnesota, where the winters are like Hoth. You know, it's so cold.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, you're going to be out there. I was just watching a video today. It was ice fishing bloopers on the Fish and More channel. Have you ever seen this channel? Awesome.
I have not.
Oh, yeah. There was some stuff where, I mean, he had, who was it? Pig Patrol TV on some of these. And it was just, I mean, it's sort of, I'm watching these and I'm like, I'm kind of getting amped up to ice fish, but I mean, we'll get there eventually. But I'm one of those where if there's open water, I'm going to be there. This year was the first year I actually started fishing in February. We took a ride out to the coast, and out that way they get open water probably a good 3-4 weeks before we ever will even see it in some of our ponds. But out there, you can get out there. And I got my first fish of 2021. I think it was either the second to last or the last week of February. I couldn't believe it. Big old peckerel. Yeah. It was always,
we head for the river. That's the first thing that's open in the spring.
Yeah.
And this spring there was still ice along the shore.
Oh yeah.
When we were putting the boat in the water. But,
no shit.
Man, it was taking that boat out first time in the spring is just like, whew.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
It's invigorating. But
I mean, I was sitting in the boat and it was being backed in, and when that boat hit the water, it was like literally just the whole stress and like down of the winter was just like done.
Well, you make a good point. You know, in the winter, getting out and fishing the river, I've kind of got that same plan for the winter. But as far as different bodies of water go specifically, what do you like the best? Are you more about larger
rivers?
Yeah. Is it
Hands
current
down.
Specifically, or is it, what is it that you like about it?
Anything with current, but I think, that's where my first tournament was on.
Gotcha.
And I don't know if it started as sort of like a sentimental thing or whatever, but it's like I read the river so much better, or it's so much easier for me to read the river than it is like other bodies of water. And the cool thing about it, like my favorite part is if you can't find them like in one environment on the river, you go a little bit down and there's a whole different scenario.
Yeah, it's always changing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty much any environment the fish could ever want. And if you know to relate it to what time and the weather and all of that, it's just, you can always get on something.
Yep. It's funny because this year was the first year I feel like I ever really sort of made a connection with river systems where I started to really understand the appeal, really. And it's, the diversity of species, the fact that because you've got that diversity of species and the amount of bait that's out there, I caught my PB this year. I broke the record. I got a 6.6 in April. Yeah. And it was amazing. I was like, this is out of this world.
Yeah, my PB was the 6.9 currently.
Nice.
For a greenfish.
Very nice. Yeah. That's awesome.
Haven't broken the 7 pound yet.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, is it common out where you are that you have fish larger than that? Or, or do you think these are just fish tails?
I wouldn't say it's common.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's common.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yep.
It's not like unusual or whatever, but there's not, I wouldn't say that I hear of a lot of fish over, there's 6 pounds and stuff caught, that you hear quite a bit of, but over 7, you don't hear that much of in my area.
Yeah, they get really rare, and it's a special thing. I made this statement when I broke this new PB. I said, this might be the biggest fish that I catch in New England. It could potentially be in my lifetime, you know, and I would be happy with that. I'll travel to catch larger fish. That's fine. Yeah. I'll definitely travel for that. So that's interesting. Yeah. So rivers are your preferred. I can definitely get into that. I can see where that would come. And I think this is, for me,
rivers,
this is the first year.
The smallmouth. It's just
just
the attitude of the fish in the river is like,
it's like the Wild West. It really is.
Yeah.
What's your top 3 confidence baits look like?
Number 1, jig.
Yep. Love it.
Number 2 would probably be a Texas rig of some kind. Texas rig soft bait. Number 3. Oh gosh, that's a tough one. I'd have to say probably like a Ned rig or a drop shot.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I hear you.
For as far as the finesse goes.
Yep.
I'm not a big finesse fan. I like power fishing.
Yep.
To slow myself down, I have to buy slower reels. So
That's not a bad thing, you know?
Yeah,
I mean, do what you got to do. You know, it's like I just started using a 5-speed on my crankbait rod, you know, and I've noticed a difference. I've noticed it because, you know, it's you kind of get caught up and you're just kind of cranking along. You're using a slower gear ratio. Plus, you get like amazing torque with the thing too. There's a lot of power there.
Yep.
You know, it's funny. I do you classify? I'll give you an example. Like when you say a jig, like a lot of people will say, like I look at a jig as a very wide group of baits. I even would consider a chatterbait a jig, a swim jig a jig. You know,
yeah, it's a bladed jig. You'd like a chatterbait's a bladed jig.
Exactly, like
definitely.
that. And same thing like with a Ned rig or one of the baits this year that I've been playing around a lot with a jig, but it's fished entirely different. Is a swinging football head. And it's almost like the way I kind of use them. It's almost like using a crankbait on the bottom.
Huh.
You know.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just kind of like.
No, I've got a couple of those and I've fished them a couple of different times. I don't think that I've got into it enough to, you know, really have any say on my opinion on it. But the thought, you know, like the thought about it is, I mean, you would think because it's more natural.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's just it's amazing. I'm with you. I love a jig is my favorite. But this is the first year I ever started swimming jigs and saw anything. You know, it's been the highest performing bait that I've thrown this year. That and a jerk bait, which have been amazing. Yeah. and when I'm one of those weird guys.
I enjoy a jerk bait too.
I'll classify a jerkbait and a fluke in the same kind of situation. It's just about the cover that I'm using it. Kind of use it in a similar way. Let's talk about this. I love this question, and I'm sure you're familiar with the saying that fishing tackle actually catches way more fishermen than it actually will catch fish. In your opinion, what do you think is the most ridiculous fishing tackle trend that the industry has kind of given us? And the follow-up to that is, have you used it, and how did it work?
Oh boy. Wow. That's a tough one.
It is, because there's a lot. They throw a lot of garbage at us.
Okay, I'm going to go with one because it's the first one that popped in my head.
Perfect.
The rat.
The rat? Really? Okay, go on.
Yeah, like I have seen some great fish caught on the rat, and I have seen people fish the rat, and it's cool, it's quirky, and it's ridiculously expensive if you get, you know, the certain brands or whatever. I have never fished the rat, so I can't. Yeah. But I kind of wanted to just to see. But yeah, for some reason that just, What
did you try it? Did it work?
No, I've never fished it.
You should.
I never have. But I've kind of wanted to.
Yeah.
And I started looking at them. And yeah, they do sell reasonably priced ones too. But like the ones that, you know, I had seen and stuff were a ridiculous price. And I'm like, I'm going to buy this rat for this amount of money and I'm going to throw it like once or twice and not catch fish and it's going to sit there. So
I would tell you, because I was in the same boat as you. I genuinely, I was like, these baits are baloney. There's no way. Like, it's just another wake bait.
How often do you see rats?
Yeah, it's just
in the water. That's my thinking.
See, I live in a real urban area, so that profile does fit. Like, there's a lot of small rodents that get into the waterways, especially in rivers. But what I will say about this is the one rat that I will recommend, and it was Todd Grubb that got me into this. I interviewed him, and he was just like, "This is the bait. Like this is one of the greatest nighttime baits I've ever used." And he loves fishing at night, but it's also I've used it at dawn, and it's amazing. I've used it when I've been trying to get him on a buzzbait, and the buzzbait was just too fast. So I would throw the biggest rat I had and just work it nice and slow. So the one I would recommend to you is from Spro. The BBZ rat. Yeah. I think it goes up as high as the model number is like a 50. I have a 40. There might even be a 60. Okay. I have a 40. I would recommend, I think they're like $25. But the nice thing about the rat is, no, it's not that bad. But you can get into them reasonably, but it will blow your mind. The smaller ones, like the 30 and the 25, are wonderful for smallmouth. Like, I think ND Yak Angler has a couple of videos where he's thrown them. I have caught, they catch big fish. Like smallmouth. Yeah, they catch big fish. They will also catch numbers. There was one day I was on this bite where I had, what was it, like an 18 and a half, and sadly there's video of this falling off my catch board.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it was not a great day.
There's even proof.
I caught, this was like an 18 and a half, and I caught a handful of 16s and 17s as well. And it was just like, it's slow, but it knocks so loud. It just calls them right up. I love fishing it over.
Now you're going to make me go spend money. Like, that's
It's part of what I do. I'm so good at this. You understand how this works. And actually, this next question, I've never actually asked anybody this because nobody's ever kind of given me this sort of platform to jump off of. But I got to talk to you about coffee.
Okay.
You're a bit of a coffee drinker,
coffee.
huh?
Oh, I'm a yeah.
Me too.
I'm a coffee addict.
Yeah. My wife and I have matching coffee cup tattoos that we got on our 7th anniversary.
If I go without coffee like for a day, I start getting headaches.
It's a bad idea. Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
Like I live for it. You are representing Outdoorsman Coffee Company, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Yes,
nice.
I am.
My question for you.
Great veteran-owned company.
Oh, yeah. My question for you is, what is your go-to coffee drink? Like you walk in,
drink?
Yeah. You go into a coffee shop or a cafe or something. What's your go-to coffee drink? The one that you're like, yep, this is what I'm going to do.
Okay. Because I usually don't know what else to order. It's like a triple or quadruple caramel latte.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's simple. It's good. But normally I just drink coffee.
Yeah, usually I drink drip coffee too. I've got a roaster around me that I really, really like, and they're amazing. Monsoon coffee, I love them. Oh my God, they're so good. I usually, if I'm going to a coffee shop, I'm going to do the largest cup they have with four to 5 shots of espresso as an Americano. Espresso and hot water, black. Oh God, it's like the bourbon of coffees.
Yeah,
it's delicious.
No, but I always say the large cup, and they're like the venti.
Yeah,
yeah, large.
The biggest
the
cup
one.
you have.
The biggest one you have.
5 shots. Yeah.
Yep.
There we go.
I've never done 5, but it's always 3 or 4.
It's hard. It's hard to come back from that. It is hard. It's very hard to come back from. I work third shift in television. Yeah. I worked third shift for a lot of years when I worked in TV, and I needed that to get by, to edit the morning show. It was nuts. Let's get back into like the fishing stuff. As far as there's a saying that I like to throw out there a lot that like the worst day of fishing can be improved on immensely if you're with the right people. You can turn a blah day, or a skunk day into just great conversation and a good memory if nothing else. You can list 3 people that you would love to fish with. They can be celebrities or everyday people. They can be anybody. They can be alive or dead, anything. Tell me who are 3 people that you would love to fish with.
Bill Dance. Kevin Van Dam.
Yep.
And Seth Sider.
Oh, Seth. Okay.
Yes.
Very
He's a river guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And a mustache aficionado as well.
Yes.
Wow, that's awesome. And that was you were pretty much on that. I feel like you've got that on a list somewhere, like must fish with.
And out of those 3, and I can't believe I'm actually saying this, it would probably be Seth Sider.
Really? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
I don't know. I enjoy watching him. He just it's very natural for him. And and he's a fellow river rat. So
No, he gets it. He definitely gets it. As far as like when you're Do you listen to music while you're fishing at all?
Yes, I do.
You do? Okay.
Yep.
So
probably 90% of the time.
Okay. When you're out there fishing, what is it that you're listening to get hyped up?
I don't like to get hyped up.
Oh, really?
No, if I'm out fishing,
Uh-huh.
I have found and implemented ways to calm myself and stay calm.
Gotcha.
Because
interesting.
if I get worked up or hyped up,
Yep.
I struggle because it's not, I don't think I retrieve the baits as naturally.
Uh-huh.
It's just, it's not as smooth or it doesn't flow as well. And so if I'm not calm or if I'm all worked up and stuff, it's just, I struggle.
You're one of the first guests I've asked that question to, and they've related it to the way that they fish. And I think that's interesting because I feel exactly the same way with music. Like I like to, on my way to the water, I like to listen to something that's going to get me hyped up and, ready to go. But I like to adjust what I'm listening to the way that I need to fish, almost as a reminder. So, like, I'll give you an example. Like, if I've got to fish a little bit more finessey and I'm working a fluke or I'm throwing a Ned rig or something, or I'm throwing a jig or a shaky head and I've just got to drag it real slow along the bottom, I might shift the playlist that I'm listening to like, like some slow blues. Something like that. That'll kind of like dial me into that.
Yeah. Like when I'm fishing a jig, and I'm listening to music and I'm dragging it along the bottom, I will just softly bounce it, just to the beat, almost like to a jerk bait on the bottom. It's weird, but it works.
It definitely does.
I don't know.
It just works. I've noticed, like, I'll keep one. If I'm in the kayak, what I'll do is I'll just leave my phone playing, I'll just leave it hanging on my leash from my chair, playing whatever it is.
Yeah, and I don't listen in headphones normally either because I think fish like music as well. So
yeah, and it's funny. I'm definitely one of those. I grew up where my father was always telling me to shut up when we were fishing because he's like, fish can hear you, and they can't.
Oh, they can.
Well, they can't hear your voice. They can hear your footsteps. But at least that's what I've been told. But I've noticed that, like these, I'm not going to go out there. I'm a professional DJ. I'm not going to bring my, big gear out on my kayak and start blasting tunes. That's crazy. But having a small Bluetooth speaker and putting some music to kind of keep you dialed in.
Set it. There's times we'll actually set it on the bottom of the boat, just because it puts out that vibration and stuff. So
yeah. No, that's awesome. It's funny though, because I've never heard anybody else say, I use it as a tool to dial in and control the speed that that's awesome. Cause it's funny. I am a big finesse fisherman. So oftentimes I'm working things really slow naturally. So there's some times where if it's a real fast, if I'm power fishing, like if I'm fishing a buzzbait, I'll put on something a little bit more up tempo, because I'm just you're chucking and winding. It's a whole different sort of thing. Let's talk about, this is a random question, but what's your most unusual talent when it comes to fishing?
My most unusual talent?
Yeah.
That's
most people are just I have no idea. Most people.
Okay. I'm going to go with this one because it probably catches me the fish that make me smile the most.
There you go.
When I'm on the river, and I think I actually wrote about this on one of my posts one time.
Yep.
On being able to float a jig the length of a log underneath the log.
Yeah.
Not quite on the bottom, but just skimming the bottom, the whole length of the log.
Oh,
and
really?
If there's a fish under there, it will get it every single time. No
kidding.
They can't resist it.
Do you use the rod to do that?
It has to be done I can't even explain how to do it because I sense what the bottom feels like, and then you have to cast past the log and the way the current's going, and to make it work, like the scenario has to be right and all of that, but to make it work, that it'll float the whole length of the log, and it'll get them if they're under there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I've never even heard of that. That's awesome.
That's the only. I don't know that I really have a.
It is unique. That's for sure. That is absolutely for sure. Does the weight of the jig seem to matter? Like, are you able to do it with a 1/2 ounce jig or a 3/8?
I usually I do it with a Texas rig and a jig.
Oh, okay.
And the Texas rig is probably almost a little bit easier because it's got that separate weight on it.
Oh,
so the way, so I think that's probably, I always put a bobber stopper on it anyway, but it's still got a little give.
Yeah.
And I either use a 3/8 or 1/2 normally.
Yeah.
And if it's like super high current, I would probably go with a 1/2. But if it's a little slower or whatever, a 3/8. But as long as it'll get to the bottom.
Yeah.
And not just, you don't want it too light, not when there's current.
Oh yeah.
Because it won't reach the bottom, or it'll just, you can't keep it down there.
As far as your goals in fishing, where would you like to see it take you in the future, say the next 5 to 10 years?
I want to be on the big stage, and I want to win the big trophy.
That's awesome. Yeah. We should talk about that because you just recently put up a post that I think is super awesome, and I'm rooting for you. This is the post about the open registration for the Bassmaster Open.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's all. Congratulations.
It's still a little surreal to me that it's actually happening.
Sure.
Yeah.
But, you've got a goal in mind, and here you are literally taking that first step.
Yeah, it's just, very cool. I mean, I decided at the first of this year, like before this season began, I made a vow to myself that I'm going to start saying yes instead of all the reasons why I'm not going to.
Yeah.
And it is amazing the things that happen and the opportunities that come when you start saying yes.
No, 100%. You're absolutely right.
I mean, I can't say it any better than that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
There's so many folks
humbling.
Are so afraid of failure. They neglect to realize that what failure is an indication of growth, and it's learning. You've got to fail in order to be able to learn, and you're never going to be able to learn or grow if you don't get out there and try. And when you said
it took me 30 plus years to learn that.
And for a second, when you said I have to start saying yes, I kind of chuckled there for a minute, and I want to clarify why. Are you a fan of the TV show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I have heard of it, and I have probably seen bits and pieces, but
there is an episode where two of the main characters, everybody's on their way to this animal rights dinner in like Atlantic City, and the car breaks down, and two of them decide that they're going to hitchhike to the event, and they tell their friends they're going to go and get help or whatever, so they hitchhike, and one of the guys, Dennis, says to the other guy, Charlie, he says, we have to just start saying yes, like it's the only way you're ever going to get anywhere in life, Charlie, is just saying yes. So they basically, it's like an exaggerated sort of path where they go here and they just keep saying yes to everything, and the next thing you know, they're at this dinner, they're hanging out with Major League Baseball stars, they're like getting autographs and like it's just absolutely crazy. And so but there is an element of that that's 100% true in our daily lives, where if you at least allow yourself the opportunity to advance, let somebody else tell you, that like a gatekeeper or whatever it's got to be. Oh, hey, no, that's not going to work for this. But at least you gave it. You weren't the one that cut you off. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things where, if you're the gatekeeper, and you keep yourself from getting into these situations or growing or learning, you're just kind of cutting off your own hand before you can get anywhere,
Oh, absolutely. And I did that for many, many years.
Yeah.
Like all the reasons why I couldn't, why I shouldn't, why
Yep.
And you just stay stuck.
Yeah.
And I finally started, and for me, I still have to when it's presented or whatever, yes. Like I just have to say yes before I can even think about it, because if I let myself think about it, I will talk myself right out of it every single time.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
And I can say yes, and then if something comes up or whatever, then so be it. But at least I gave it a shot.
Yep.
It just,
What about like a dream destination or dream trip that you in your mind that you plan on taking? Where would you love to fish?
Oh boy, I would love to fish in Alaska.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yes.
I just saw some fishing videos up from Alaska today.
Yeah.
Yeah, sockeye salmon.
That and like northern Wisconsin, Minnesota for smallmouth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm all on board with that.
And I don't like cold, and yet I'm saying like these cold places, but no, it's just I came from a northern environment, and there's just something about it's just why it's a little bit more. It's wilder.
Yeah, it is wild, especially Alaska.
Yeah.
Especially.
I mean, when you have miles and miles without houses or whatever, and there's just this remote lake
and there's no industrial.
It's on a different level.
Yeah,
in my head.
Exactly. You don't have, industrial runoff or anything. You've got these pristine bodies of water that are just like nature's been doing its thing for centuries and, since the beginning of time. And it's just awesome.
And you just,
What does your general rod and reel arsenal look like when you go out, for a day, either, competing or just to go out to enjoy it? What are you typically bringing out for gear?
You mean as far as like quantity or like what? Like
what's your, your top 5 go-to combos, your top 3 or however many you generally have? How do you usually line them up?
Okay. Well, no, normally I'll have my jig rod, which I'm a big bait caster fan. Yep. I don't do as well with spinning reels. I will use them if I have to, and they have their place and stuff, but I prefer a bait caster. So I'm going to have something for I'm going to have my jig, Texas rig, some kind of, and it depends where I'm at, whether I do like a crankbait or lipless or something like that. But then I'll also have the finesse option. I'll usually have the Ned rig drop shot. Those are the two. The stickworm thing floating so slowly. Like I can't, I don't have the patience for it to even like get anywhere close to where it needs to go.
Yep.
And but I mean, so that would be, and it depends on the situations.
Yeah. Oh, it's
and
definitely situational.
I will normally not use more than probably 3 at the most.
Yeah.
Unless it's a really, really bad day.
Yeah. Gotcha.
or slow, to where I'm just not getting bite. I will have every single rod out, every bait you can imagine, and it's a hot mess everywhere.
Yeah.
But
some days are like that. Yeah.
But it's normally I stick to 3 or 4 basics.
Yep.
And keep it simple for me, because if I don't keep it simple, I get worked up, and it just,
I hear you.
It just spirals downhill from there. So
yep. Yeah, it's like I've been there. In fact, I've seen it with my friends where, they're just not having a great day, and I'm like, man, we should probably just call this, because it's not going to get any better.
I will lose lures, I will hook things, I will tangle, I'll just have a hot mess.
Yeah. It comes with the territory.
Yep, and it's like, okay, it's time to just go.
Oh, yeah. Now, this is another gear question. It's kind of random. But
Okay.
Sean the Fisherman and I, imagine the situation. Sean the Fisherman and I are like, driving out your way. We're going to pick you up, and we've got the Jigs and Bigs corporate credit card in hand. We're going to go to your favorite tackle shop, okay? And you can build, right? You can build one combo, whatever rod you want, whatever reel you want. You can spool it up with whatever line you want, and you can throw one bait. The thing is, you don't know the body of water we're going to, neither do we, and the conditions are a crapshoot. How would you rig yourself up with a single combo, one spool of line, and one bait?
Okay. I would. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 1 second. I would get probably a 6-8
Okay.
medium fast. You keep freezing up.
Oh, it's all right. I'm just kind of
Okay.
sitting still. I think
Okay.
that might be me.
Okay, sorry.
No problem.
Anyway, okay. I don't know why that question's so tough for me.
It is. Well, some folk, because it gets them thinking out of their head, like, how would I set myself up with one combo? Yeah.
I don't know how specific are you wanting it?
What's that? Oh, how specific am I looking for it? I mean, as specific as you want to be. If you just want to use specs, that's fine. If you know certain models of stuff, you can tell me that too.
Okay. No, I would do a 6-8, medium heavy, actually. I would probably do a 6-3 or 6-5 reel.
Okay.
And it would be, I usually do 10 to 12 pound fluorocarbon.
Yep.
And it would have to be a jig.
You'd have a jig. I like that.
I'd have a jig.
I can get behind that. Yeah.
Yep.
I could definitely get behind that.
Either like a flipping jig or a football round head. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I tie my own jigs though, so I don't ever buy a jig. But
I hear you.
yeah.
So you sneak a couple of those in your pocket.
I live and die by the jig. So
Yeah.
just
I mean,
you can make it. You can adapt it to pretty much any situation, in my opinion.
I agree.
I mean,
with
there's
you.
times it's not going to work, and I will throw other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely my number one confidence base.
You know, it's funny. I'm a huge believer in versatility. I think versatility is versatility is right up there for fishermen as confidence is. As far as like things that you need that you need in order to be successful. And I think with the thing about jigs, and I don't want to use like the generic term like I like to think like for jigs.
Right.
But let's take a traditional bass jig, an Arky style jig, a casting jig, okay? If you get one that's got a nice big skirt on it, maybe it's a 3/8 ounce, so it's not super heavy, but it's not a 1/4 ounce finesse jig or anything like that.
Right.
You have a lot that you can do with that. I mean, you could you could change it up with the trailer that you're using. You could swim that. You could work it along the bottom. If you have a fast enough reel, you could buzz it across the top.
Or you can pop it like a
and yo-yo, and
you can almost do it as like a jerk bait almost.
In a lot of ways, there's a lot that you can do with a jig. But the thing that really blows my mind about like the bass jig, the traditional skirted bass jig, is everybody forgets you can cut that skirt off.
I never cut it completely off.
But that's what I'm saying. You can change the profile.
I always trim it.
Yeah.
I always trim it.
You can
but because I mean it's like this just abrupt cut all the way around. No, it's not natural. Not in my head. So yeah, I always trim it.
But you can do so much. Like sometimes you need that big bulky profile. Other times you got to thin it out. Or I mean, like I said, in some situations, I've seen folks that will take their chatterbaits and just take the skirt right off. Buzz baits, same idea.
I've done that.
Yeah.
I've done that too.
It's really
there's
crazy.
Times I'll put a worm as a trailer. I will do some sort of craw. or I'll just do one of the basic swim baits. You know, just you can. Yeah, there's so many different ways to present it.
There really are. It's like, it's so versatile. It's one of those few baits where, like, you can't take a lipless crank and, like, cut it in half. You can't downsize it that way. It doesn't work. You know?
You can change the color. You can do that, you know, but yeah. I always trim the weed guard, too. Oh, because to me, it's thick. Here, I've got one, like, right here. It's thick, and so I always trim it at an angle to where it's still covering the hook, but it's thinner so that it's easier for them to get to the hook.
Yeah. And, you know, it's funny. When it comes to weed guards especially, I feel like everybody has their own thing. What I often do, I can't believe we're doing this. This is awesome. What I often do, and I'll use one of the Jigs and Bigs jigs from our jig kit.
Nice.
What I'll often do is I'll take it and I'll split the weed guard right down the middle like this.
Oh. Okay.
Like that. And then I'll take my finger or my thumb and I'll apply pressure right in between. I'll spread it wide. And the reason why I do it like that, like that V, it goes over timber so well. Because
I gotcha.
If it goes over the side like this, and it's all lined up straight ahead, you're more likely to grab that hook point. Yeah, but this V, it'll just kick it right over.
I need to try that, because for the river, you need that.
Oh, yeah. I love it. I also like it on like swim jigs.
I always push it down, too, to where it's as close to the hook point as you can get it, because, it doesn't do much. And it catches a lot more if it's not as close, like almost touching the tip of the hook.
Oh, I agree. It's a whole lot easier.
Hey, that was a good tip, though. Thanks for that.
Well, hey, you know, that's what anglers do. We help each other out.
Yeah.
But I do have one other question. What I'd like you to do, though, before we get to that last question, I'd like you to tell me a little bit about your connection with the company For Her Outdoors.
Oh, boy. Well, it's a business connection, but it's also, I am very grateful and humbled to be able to call her a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Jennifer and her granddaughter, Peyton. They're just, when you find good people, you know you found good people. They're just good people, and they're kind. They, they just, they want to make the world a brighter place.
No, that's awesome.
And it was like an instant connection. And I knew one other girl that was an ambassador. And then they asked me if I would be, and it was no question in my mind. Yes.
That's awesome.
And and we've met each other in person 3 different times now, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Times, so, yeah.
That's awesome.
I met Jennifer and her granddaughter once, but then Jennifer and I have met 2 other times as well. So
that's great.
Yeah, and it's just, I'm proud. She's a great person.
Oh, yeah.
It's an amazing company. They are really, what they're wanting to do is just put more, options and stuff into the female outdoor apparel. And it's just, No,
that's
amazing,
awesome.
Amazing business and people.
We do everything that we can to be as supportive as humanly possible of women in the world of fishing. Like, female anglers are just absolute badasses. Like they're, you know what I mean? They're killing it. So I'm going to go ahead and give some shout outs, because we've actually gotten to be very close and very friendly with, I think, some of the best women in fishing, including yourself. But we've also we've had Rachel Walker on the show. We've had Megan Long, Largemouth Sass. I'm working hard on getting Em from she's out your way in Wisconsin, Reel 'em Angler.
Oh yes, she is.
Oh, Emily is something, man.
Yeah,
she is. As a matter of fact,
she's an amazing lady. An amazing angler too, as well. All 3 of those.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
every time she puts a picture up of a bowfin, and she did just this last week. That's like the species I've yet to conquer. That and northern pike. Yeah. Yet to catch one.
You can come here. They're in this area.
Oh, yeah.
I keep catching them when I'm not trying to.
That's what everybody tells me. I was at Lake Champlain, and I mean, I had one. I was swimming a half-ounce bass jig back to the boat, and I had one that had to go 36 inches just under the surface, following my jig. And our eyes met, and he was like, "Peace," and he just took off. And I was like, "You son of a bitch!" Like, I don't even know how I could.
Was it a bowfin or a pike?
No, it was a pike. It was a big one. It was easily a 30 plus. Easily. Wow. Just an absolute monster. Yep. Sean the Fisherman got into a bunch of them while he was there. And I'm like, and I think, did my dad hook one? No. It was the owner of Bass Cabin 189, where we stayed on our trip up there. He hooked into a doozy, and he's just like, oh, these things suck. They just steal jerk baits, or, it's just crazy.
But they're exciting
they're
to
so
catch,
cool.
though.
Yeah.
I mean,
freshwater gators. Northern gators. Crazy. Yeah. They're just unbelievable.
Yeah, but, I mean, they're almost violent, and the bowfin almost more so than the pike. Like I caught a big bowfin this season. It was during a tournament, and got it up to the boat. And this is the first time I've seen them do it. I heard that they did the death roll, like literally. And I'm like, whoa, like this fish is violent. Yeah, but they're a lot of fun to catch, though.
There is a body of water that's near me that I fish often. It gets pressured like you wouldn't believe, but it's so convenient, I can't say no to it. There's a great launch. Like it's everything that I would need it for. And actually this year I just got like my first, what I would consider like my first big boy kayak. Like, this is I got a Native Titan 13.5.
Ooh, and very nice.
It's a very nice big boat. And I'm finally experimenting with, electronics and things like that. So this one body of water, I know that there's bowfin in there. And I think that DCR actually introduced them in there to control something. And there was one, this is like a couple of years ago. I remember I was fishing a popper, and I had
They like those.
Well, I hooked at the time. It was my PB chain pickerel. I think it was an 18. Ooh. It was a big one. Okay. And I'm like, this thing is amazing. And I happened to be changing spots after I released him. I was like, okay, well, we'll try and check out this little cove. And I look in the water and I see this bowfin go swimming by. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try and get him. We'll see what we can do. And I couldn't get him to bite. Like, he was just so lazy.
I can't see him and not try to catch him. And my partner's like, why are you trying to catch him? We're not trying to catch, like, because he's like, they're fun to catch.
They're amazing.
And I can't like just watch him and not try to get him.
Yeah, of course. Of course. It's tough to be a multi-species angler in a tournament situation when you're looking for bass. Yeah. It is.
Yeah. I mean, well, when I'm in a tournament, not so much, but because that takes time. So
it's funny. Sean the Fisherman was doing a big tournament at a big body of water in Connecticut, and it was a 2-day event, and he was I think it was the second day. And actually, if you look on our profile, there's video that posted, because he had called me losing his mind because he was on his native Slayer 10 or 12, and he's getting towed around by this giant carp. It was a 20-pound carp that ate a Ned rig.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
He's getting my word.
Towed all around. He landed it.
That's pretty epic.
He got a state pin for it. It was amazing. And the state of Connecticut on a Ned rig. And he was just like, this is wild.
That's amazing.
But he's like, he goes, and I mean, like, he is super competitive. Like, he is Sean the Fisherman. I mean, he is. Yeah. But he was like, I'll never forget this. So he calls me and I said, hang on a sec. I go, keep your phone handy. I'm going to go live on Instagram now, and I'll bring you in on it. So we had people on there. They're like, this is wild.
Oh my gosh.
You can see it if you look at our IGTV profile.
I'll have to take a look.
It's ridiculous. Oh my God.
That's awesome.
But then he's got a picture of, this giant 20-pound carp, and he's just like, big shit-eating grin standing on some guy's dock. He's like,
hell yeah.
Absolutely
and you got to
amazing.
save him for it. That's freaking awesome.
And in Connecticut, that's hard to do. Like, you need a blood test, you need witnesses, cavity searches. It's because it's Connecticut. That's what happens.
Yeah.
So our last question is kind of a doozy, Edie. Okay. It's a two-parter.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first thing I want to know about is that moment that you're on the water that you're most proud of. It might have been a PB. It might have been something where like the shit hit the fan, like something went wrong and you were able to like get involved to fix it. It might be whatever story it is that you're like most proud of. When people say, think about it like this, you're at an event and somebody says, oh, you fish, and you're going to share that story. This is that one that first comes to mind. The second story, however, and no angler has any shortage of these.
Oh boy.
You know what I'm talking about. Oh, so why don't you go ahead, fill us in. You can do it in whichever order you like.
Okay. Okay. No. What is the second one?
The second one's just the biggest epic fail.
Okay. Oh. Okay. I got these both without a doubt.
Okay.
No hesitation.
Perfect.
I'm gonna go with the epic fail first.
Okay. Nice.
Wah wah wah. Okay, so picture early spring. Water's about 45 degrees, something like that.
Yep.
No, it was probably maybe warmer than that. Anyway, because fish were barely starting to bed.
Oh, gotcha.
I had never fished for a bedding fish before. And we found, my partner and I found this big fish on a bed, and I get, of course I'm super excited, like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And I don't know if you know this about me, but I am also super clumsy.
We're birds of
my
a feather.
My nickname is Grace because it's ironic.
Yep.
Not because I'm graceful, because I'm like the complete opposite of that. So anyway, I am trying to catch this fish, and I get all excited and I'm moving and I stumble over the seat.
Oh, no.
And like slow motion, I mean full suit, bibs, everything into the water.
Oh my God. That's some Bill Dance
joke.
shit. Oh my God.
I get my partner helps me out. And he says this, and I kid you not. When I told you to throw everything under the kitchen sink, I was not talking about yourself.
That's amazing. Holy cow.
And then, but wait. And then he casts out for the fish again.
Well, sure.
I said, okay, hold on. If you want to live, you better get me to the truck because I'm freezing.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it was and it was not caught on video, thank goodness.
That's
so
good.
No
It can't haunt you. Yep.
Oh yeah. I'll never live that down. And I have yet to go a season without falling off of a perfectly good bass boat.
Wow.
Yeah. I almost made it through this season, actually. Towards the, yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Managed to get it done.
That's a doozy.
And then as far as the fishing story, the good one, that is going to be St. Clair this summer.
Oh.
I was fishing St. Clair in a tournament with my partner. And we had gone all morning, not doing much of anything.
Yep.
The bite was slow. It was maybe 10, 11-ish in the morning, maybe not even quite that late. Anyway, we were out 11 feet of water, I think it was.
Yep.
And I was like, you know what? We're out here and not catching anything anyway. I'm just going to be crazy.
Sure.
Right? So I'm going to throw top water. I was throwing the top water. It was a Mischief minnow from Freedom Tackle. And I reeling it in, a couple casts, and I said, I had literally just got done saying, how freaking cool would it be to have a big old smallmouth, just blow up on this top water out here in the middle of St. Clair.
Yeah.
Not even 30 seconds later, and it was just boom. This big old smallmouth came and blew up on it, and ended up landing it. It's my PB smallmouth, 5.8 pound smallmouth.
Holy crap!
On top water.
That's a big smallie.
Like 11 feet of water in the middle of St. Clair, and I was like, I don't care if I never catch another fish. Like, I will die happy.
Yeah.
That's the highlight. How do you beat that?
No, that's amazing. That's amazing.
But yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. I mean, I literally like almost collapsed. I was shaking, crying, whole 9 yards.
Yeah, I believe it.
That was a pretty epic moment.
Yeah, that's really amazing. That's awesome. That's like a smallie of a lifetime. Like most people.
I mean, it's like that fish was almost as big as I was. You can see the pictures on my profile too. It was. Yeah. And that big old cheese and grin on my face.
I believe. Yeah, that probably stayed for 48 hours easily.
Yeah. See, I'm getting the jitters talking about it. Every
that's
single time.
awesome. Congrats. That is. Hang on. You earned it.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is awesome. That was what I had in mind for our trip to Champlain. Was just getting that picture with my dad, us holding up like 6 giant smallies out of the live well. And we definitely
the bag that it was crazy.
And I mean we definitely did numbers. It was a great day, but we probably caught bigger fish than most of us, than either of us had regularly caught. Definitely more quantity of quality fish than we've ever had. And it would have been, our guy that was with us, Ian, he even said, he's like, the bag that you guys put together today would have easily taken a tournament up here, a local one. And he's like, because it was a good day. It was rough conditions. I sort of can relate to you on the story about falling out of boats though. I've never fallen out of a bass boat. Hang on, knock on wood. Yet. Yeah. I'll never forget the story. I bought my first kayak, and I was just at this point. It was like anytime I would go and fish, I left it strapped on my roof rack all the time. Like if I could drop it in the water, I was gonna just drop. I was rigged and ready constantly. This was last summer. Yeah. And or not last summer, the previous summer. And I said, okay, we're gonna go ahead and give this a go anytime I can. And I was fishing this one spot locally, and it's a terrible body of water. It's gross. It's the swampiest kind of place in the world. And I have a knack of catching some really good chain pickerel in here on buzz baits. And there's some decent bass in there too. But I mean, it seems like it's a good pickerel fishery. And my buddy and I, he's been out fishing in another friend of his in his John boat. And he's like, yeah, if we can get out there's some pretty decent structure. We can get out and, catch some decent fish. And I've got my kayak here. This is before he had bought his kayak. And he was on the fence if he was actually ever going to do it or not. And I told him that, I said, look, I go, he even made the suggestion. He says, why don't we throw the boat in, you paddle out, see if there's any bites, and then come back, and then I'll take it out, and then we'll go and do that. I was like, you know what? That's a great idea. And in my mind, I'm like, he said, I want to kind of see how stable it is and everything else before I decide I'm going to go and get a kayak too. And thank God he eventually did, but I didn't help his situation. Because I was still learning how to launch the kayak without a boat ramp, having this right off the bank. And I had I basically had the hull up too much on the bank where it was just going to tip as soon as I got it. So I go in and I straddle the kayak because I'm a big guy, I go, okay, all right. And I say to him, famous last words, Edie, this is going to haunt me forever. I say to my buddy Paul, I go, there's no real graceful way to do this. And I sit in the seat and it immediately dumps me out. It dumps my top water, my frog rod that has the BBZ rat on there with the giant treble hooks. Right near my face. It drops. What else was up there? All kinds of stuff. It was just bad. My phone went in the water, everything. Goodness. And his water was so gross. And there was easily 8 inches of muck that I just sunk into.
Oh my God.
It was so bad. And I'm like, if I get in my car and just call it a day, my car is going to smell like this pond. I was like,
Oh.
I have to stay here and dry. And we ended up having a great day fishing, and I'm glad I
Right.
stayed out. But I was like, you got to be kidding me. And I'm like, yeah, falling in the water. Yeah.
See, I have a story very similar to that. And that was the weekend of one of the Lady Slayers tournament. And I I was up on Fawn River and in my kayak it was a long, crazy day already.
Yeah.
I was exhausted, close to where I was getting out. Tried to take a picture of a fish, dropped my phone.
Oh,
okay,
geez.
and most of this river is very shallow, but it was taller than me, so it was pretty deep. And I was like, okay, I've got to get the phone back. I've got to submit my fish and all that.
Yeah.
And so I get out of the kayak, and this is in pretty high current, pretty strong current. I am not the strongest swimmer.
Okay.
So I'm trying to hang on to the kayak. Oh yeah, it was bad. Like I thought I was drowning, and then I couldn't get back onto the kayak. And so I tried to get up close to shore. Yeah, I sank down, and I swear it was just like soaked manure.
Yeah.
Like up to my waist.
And you're like, what is this?
I smelled so bad. Yeah. I had it. Yeah. It was bad. It was just a series of unfortunate events, one after the other.
Not kidding.
Like, I pulled up to where I got out, and I did not have my phone because I couldn't get to it.
Oh, yeah.
I knocked on the door of the house there, and I was like, the poor lady that came to the door.
Oh, I'm sure she was.
I was so dirty, filthy, smelled to high heaven, and like, can I use your phone?
Wow.
But yeah, it turned out good. We got the phone back. The great folks at Fawn River Kayak,
Really?
that run the kayak rentals and stuff there came out, and yep. So it was all good, and it ended well.
That's awesome.
And
Good.
I think I don't remember for sure what I placed that round, like third or fourth. I'm not positive.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's awesome.
It was but yeah, it was definitely, will not forget that one either. I thought I was going to drown.
Yeah, that's scary. Like, especially like you talk about current. Oh my God. Like,
yeah,
it can overtake you so much faster than you even realize.
Oh yeah.
And you can only prepare so much.
And I was not going to let go of my kayak and lose my kayak. No. And I was trying not to dump it over because I did not want to lose all my gear.
Yep.
And it's really tough to get into a kayak in open water. Really, really tough. Yeah. But yeah.
It is. It's a challenge, and I can only imagine. I've seen folks create like makeshift ladders and things like that to like give them some leverage. And like I said, I'm a big guy. I would 100% need something like that. I should probably look into that before I get out in the water next time, because I'm probably
you kind of have to
myself.
swing yourself across it almost so you don't tip it. But, but yeah, it's all's well that ends well. So.
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, at least it all ended up working out in the right way. Edie, this was an awesome interview. I'm going to give you an opportunity now. Go ahead, promote yourself, promote any of the brands that you're working with, anything like that. This is your opportunity to shine. Go ahead, let people know how they can get in touch with you, if they want to follow you, what socials you're on, all that good stuff. Let it go.
Okay. Well, Edie Wilkinson. On Instagram, you can find me at BassQueen83. Bass_Queen83. On Facebook, it's Bass Queen Fishing, or my personal page is Edie Wilkinson. And then TikTok is Bass Queen83 as well. Some shout outs I want to give to companies is For Her Apparel, Jennifer and Peyton from there. Amazing folks, amazing company. Outdoorsman Coffee Company. Again, it's a great veteran-owned company.
Yep.
American Bait Works, which is net baits, scum frogs, set the hook, Freedom Tackle.
Nice.
And Rio Sunglasses. So,
awesome.
and so
That's awesome, Edie.
Yeah,
This is
so give me
great.
a follow, check it out, and hopefully you will be a part of my journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're killing it on the social media game. I mean, you got a ton of followers. Your content's great. Like, you're delivering on all accounts. You know, it's like you got something going on for everybody with the tournament angling side and the brand ambassador stuff and everything. Like, I mean, that's huge. You're really killing it. So congratulations. Great job.
Thank you. I try to just keep it, it's just keep it real.
Yeah.
Good, bad, ugly.
Exactly.
It's me. So
No, congratulations. I'm happy
thank
for you.
Thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you too. Yeah. Just I appreciate everybody. I like really all the encouragement and support from everybody is just unreal.
That's awesome.
Yep, I'm very grateful.
That's great. Do me a favor.
Yeah.
I want you to do me a
Yes, sir.
favor. I want you to DM me a picture
Okay.
of you holding a giant, because we're going to use it for the artwork for this next episode.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Awesome,
All right.
Edie.
Sounds good.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for being on. You were absolutely awesome. Go give her a follow, guys, and we're sure to see big things come from Edie. Take care, Edie. Thanks so much.
Okay. Yep. See ya.
Bye-bye. Have a good one.
You too.
Welcome back to Jigs and Bigs. Whoa! We're the wacky fishing show where we don't really talk about fishing. Let's recap today, Bobby Roast Beef. We've gone to concerts. We're also fat fucks that can't stop talking about food. Thanksgiving. And Ellie's farts could peel the paint off Swamp Rat's battleship. Whoa!
Wow! That's awesome!
I sat on attack again.
That's fantastic. Oh my God.
What are we doing?
I don't know.
People listen to this shit.
They really do. And they do. Battleship paint just flakes right off. It just flakes right off. It's just...
And it's even funnier because it flakes off going into the whatever the Gulf Stream or whatever works its way across the country. She could do it from here.
That's what I'm saying. That's talent. This is like, you've heard America's Got Talent?
Yeah.
Even more. It's like, I love it. I love it.
Ellie's got some cross country winds of death going.
Yeah, she does. A little bit of her own El Nino going on. It's a different kind of jet stream. Oh,
Yep.
God.
Oh,
so
Jesus
many fart
Christ.
jokes. And she's such a sweetheart, but, she sets them up.
Yep.
Lights them up, too. Anyway, guys, we've had a really good show this week. This is really, really awesome. I mean, we got the 100th episode coming up, which is monumental on its own, but the fact that we're doing the live show with it is going to be even more amazing. So if you're in or around the Western Massachusetts area in early February, on February the 5th, you can come and check out our show. Tickets do go on sale for this, and it is a fundraiser. It's a fundraiser for Make Massachusetts Fishing Spots Great Again. We are going to be presenting them with, we even have like a giant check and like everything ready to give them. So it's going to be a huge opportunity for, us to kind of do something awesome for the community, but also have a huge amount of fun in real time. Highly engaging, going to be a lot of fun. So we ask you guys, check it out. Visit jigsandbigs.com, check out our social media. You will find links everywhere for your tickets if you're interested in going. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, and I'm really excited. Big shout out and thank you to Nathan Bills for having us in there. I think this is going to be really good, and we're kind of a rowdy bunch, but they can definitely hang for sure. We have a lot of shit coming up too.
Yeah, maybe that night for individual donations to the fund.
Yep.
We could answer questions in our zany morning radio guy voices.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what we're doing. Yeah. I could get behind that. Like,
Just
we have a such and such donation for this much, blah, 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 blah. And they're asking, whatever question. I kind of like that idea. It's kind of a good idea.
Bobby, in a cold weather situation, what's your favorite lure to use?
Personally, I really enjoy throwing a net rig, or if I really just can't control myself, I'll throw a jerkbait and just... I do. I love it. Yeah, you could experience this firsthand, you know? And
so people right now are looking in their calendars going, February 5th.
Make plans.
Away from
Western Massachusetts.
Yeah, Western Massachusetts. Got it. Okay.
Oh, it's going to be a whole lot of fun, though. We're excited about it. But, you know, we have other events, too, that we're working on as well. We're working really, really hard to get I don't want to spill the beans too much on some of these things, but we have one event that I think you guys are absolutely going to love. It is in conjunction with Old Glory Outdoors, and you're absolutely going to love it, guys. It's going to be a ton of fun. And then we have, there's expos that are coming up, and it's expo season, planning these things. So we're hoping to have some appearances at some of these sportsmen's events that are happening in and around our area. And, if you're not so nearby to Massachusetts, like out of state, I would entertain the idea of going and hitting up some of these other expos as well. So if you would, let us know where there's shows near you. We'd love to check them out. And maybe this isn't the year, but it lets us plan in advance for other types of events,
Yeah, and as part of, we talked about this when they made the announcement when we were down there. As part of the Three Bells regional fishing team, a number of us, myself included, will be attending a lot of different events in New England. So if you're at a fishing show, stop in, say hi. I won't have any Jigs and Bigs gear on unless I'm there representing Jigs and Bigs, but I'll be with the Three Bells folks. We'll be there, and I will not do a zany radio voice unless paid. Yeah, I'm going to be a whore on that, and I'm drawing the line in the sand. Like, you got $10, I'll be zany radio guy.
Yeah, zany radio guy. If it does something to help the environment, he's down.
I'm telling you. That's one thing. And the other thing we should mention, Bobby, is about our social media accounts and all the
for sure
pending giveaways.
Yeah.
So I looked at my account earlier this weekend. I was getting close to 900.
That's awesome, amazing. Dude. That's hold on. That's huge.
Fuck, I'm not doing it, dude. It's these people that are, I'm picking up the cast offs from all the other ones, but
it's the listeners, man. They're awesome.
Yeah. And you had said Jigs and Bigs is within like 20 of the next giveaway.
Yeah, we're about last count that I had, I think it was 23 follows. Wow. And we're gonna hit that. So we're talking about we're gonna be launching a giveaway within the next 2 weeks easily. I'm not going by our typical trajectory, that I don't know how if the holiday is going to have any impact on it, if we're going to see more or less, if folks, they're not working or something like that. Maybe it's an extended, the extended weekend might help. I don't know. We'll see how it works, but I'm really excited for when we cross that line there. I'm also waiting on some picks from the winner, receiving the prizes from the Bobby Roast Beef giveaway. I know the stuff that I had sent down had gotten there, but it's sending, Venmoing dinner, it's like, it doesn't have the visual appeal as a Hookset Hoodlums, t-shirt and all that stuff. So very cool. So all that stuff's on its way, but very excited because the next giveaway is going to be happening very, very, very soon. And we have other giveaways too that are unrelated to the mile marker giveaways. There is talk of us giving away a very big ticket item. A couple of things that we got to line up to make it happen. But I think you guys are going to be into this, just a big ticket item that I think you guys are really going to be into. When I say big, I mean really big. We can't ship it to you. We're going to have to bring it to you. It's going to be a trip.
We're apparently just going to have to find your general direction, put it behind Ellie and point her facing the opposite direction and just have her rip one. It'll get there.
Oh, my goodness. Folks, I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. I had a blast putting this together. I know Sean had a blast putting this together. If you're local and you're in this area and you're not getting out catching some fish, you're just not trying hard enough. Get a Ned rig, tie that sumbitch on. Do not, whatever you do, park your vehicle in the middle of the boat ramp and then go off gallivanting. Trust me, you don't want to be that guy. But throw a Ned rig, get finessey with it. It's just because it's cold. It's not it's not the end of days, guys. We can make this happen. They can be caught. If I can catch them in this kind of cold temperatures, you can too. Believe me, it's awesome. We've got a lot of good stuff.
Think about it this way.
Yep.
Or if you're out there and you're trying to throw that 5-inch worm like you would in the summer, what happens in the winter, man?
Yeah,
shrinkage.
It's true. Yeah, that's a good point. It's true. It's true. Oh. I love it. Guys, have yourselves a good one. Take good care. And like we always say, have yourselves a good one. Get out there and catch some fish. Remember, follow us on social media. We appreciate you so much. Have yourselves a great one. And, of course, tight lines.
Making my way through the hood, sipping this yak. Niggas about to get blown with the Mac. Riding around the block with a Glock. Yo ass finna get shot. That's the silencer. That's the grenade launcher. I'm finna kill you. I'm finna drill you. And now you bleeding. When I shoot you in your neck, the noise gon' play. You know I will shoot you in your eyes just so I can hear the play. Making my way through the hood, sipping this yak. Niggas about to get blown with the Mac. Riding around the block with a Glock. Yo ass finna get shot. That's the silencer. That's the grenade launcher. I'm finna kill you. I'm finna drill you. And now you bleeding. They play. When I shoot you in your neck, the noise gon' play. You know I will shoot you in your eyes just so I can hear the play.
That was ridiculous.